And we are live, presumably, or so the computer tells me. Hello, everyone. Let me know how my audio is. I also currently have my heater on because it is very cold today, and it has been cold the past couple days. Who's all here? Hello, Professor. Glad to see you. Yes, you were not early. I was a little bit late. Spent last night catching up on End Talker videos. Awesome. I have had one of those done editing and just need to put footage to it for like a month at this point. I'll sit down and do that tonight. Hello, Roria. Hello, Ray Ray, as usual. Powering Banhammers. Hello, Fishy. Glad to have you here. Hello, Catherine. From Orlando, Florida, where it's sunny and 90 degrees. Okay, 90 degrees is a bit much, but it is like 55 in the room I am currently. Hello, Serene. Boop to you too. Hello, Knockout. Hello, hello. Let me know if my audio is sounding weird at all. And if not, we'll get going in just a second here, and we'll warm up by starting out with a Marauder quest. Because hopefully we'll get that all out of the way sooner rather than later. I guess we still have at least one level before 30, and I think we have at least a couple of quests left. Seems fine. Good, good. Okay, hello, Silver. Glad to have you. We'll just give it one more minute here before we dive on in. How's everyone's week going? Whew, I've been exhausted. I have been having a rough sleep. But, hopefully, all will be well. And, I can always sleep after this. Or when I'm dead. Whichever comes first. Hello, Cal. Okay, let's go ahead and get things started with the Cookie Monster. 25. Okay, cool. So we only have like 2 or 3 more quests left then.
Elio, our near-disaster encounter with the pack that follows Kujata has been preying on my mind. The overwhelming number of beasts was beyond aught I had imagined. Even the most dedicated marauder could not hope to carve through the snarling wall of flesh. And if we cannot dispatch the pack with Kujata, remains beyond our reach. Thus, I prepared you a trial and shall unleash your deepest reserves of destructive strength by cookies. As before, Soulquib awaits you at the Bismarck to guide you on your path.
Whoever said he should be Cookie Monster, I curse you.
Do not squander this opportunity for growth, Helio. The pride of the guild itself rides on the keen edge of your axe.
Full-time work, weekend starts tomorrow. Good. Well, I'm glad that weekend starts tomorrow for you, Auroria. Hope work hasn't been too rough. Professor, 25 and 30 Marauder quests, then Warrior quest. Awesome. Only 2 more then. Thanks for the heads up. Cookie Monster, also hey peeps. Hey Nick, glad to have you here. Sayreen coming in with the milkshake allowance already. Maybe we'll hopefully, I may be a little early, but hopefully we'll get to our Or no, that's too high pitched. Which we will definitely be naming Milkshake. And maybe we'll have a poll or something to see what color we try to dye him. And maybe we'll dye him a vanilla or chocolate or whatever based on what the votes say.
You've ordered for my brother?
Ha! The pride of the guild, eh?
My brother has placed quite a burden on your shoulders, it seems. But from what I have witnessed, if any marauder has the skill and determination to put down Kujata, then it is you. And there is, of course, the matter of Sigurd's vengeance. You don't want to disappoint the poor boy now, do you? Let us be about this trial, Elio. I shall meet you on the Salt Strand in Lower Lenosia, where your training is to take place. Well, naturally, I will be there. Without me, you're like to forget to tend your wounds and bleed to death.
Thanks for the backup, but also, hey, I worry about my health too. I just don't have the skills to deal with it. I work full-time on the weekends. I misunderstood that, Auroria. Ow. Well, my apologies. My empathy to you. I work full-time on the weekend. No, that's not true. I still do a lot of the video editing and writing on the weekends. But, I mean, even when I'm doing that, exhausted out of my mind. It's still a lot less draining than working a lot of the other jobs I have, every other job I have in my life, so I hardly count that. You have my utter empathy, and if there's anything I can do to make that easier on you, let me know. Nick, I wish cafes were more of an activity in-game rather than RP. Yeah, that's... I understand that sentiment. Because I don't RP and because I'm not... Like, that's not the type of content that I care much about. I tend to be not worried too much, and at least the spaces exist. But yeah, I think there's enough people out there who would appreciate the same, that I don't think you are in a minority. Or at the very least, if you are, it's not a small one. I have to say that I've been enjoying your videos. Glad to see more Eorzean on YouTube. Awesome, Fishy. Thank you so much, and I hope that you continue to enjoy future videos as well. And yes, Eorzean represent. Syrian, I actually can't stay for tonight, but good luck with the MSQ. Catching up the VOD tomorrow. Have fun, peeps. Aw, bye, Syrian. We will miss you. Rory, my decision makes it easier for other things during the weekdays. Okay, good. Well, should be the place. I don't see... do you sense the encroaching aura of violence, Elio? Pray, unlimber the axe of yours. Love the crafter symbol videos. Thanks, Knockout. Bread. Almost let the healer die because bread. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely got Naniri and Issa to record those lines very last minute. That seems to be the last of them. Compared to what we had faced before, though, it wasn't terribly... So this is the abdominal... Well, I don't know whose voice it is. It's fine. Who in the seven hells are you? Wait, is that... We have determined it worthy of our challenge. Come, Marauder, let us test the edge of your steel. Oh, brother. Literally. Forgot my food buff. Gotta eat a Kaiser roll. I'm glad that that joke seemed to have resonated as much as it did. I was very worried I'd get another one of the comments that along the lines of, what was it? There was one on on the Kugane video that was that joke fell flatter than a teenage Minecraft Let's Player or something. Anytime I come up with anything memey or jokey, you know, you always hope it has an audience. Axeman with the axe plan. Bread makes me laugh now, and my roommate thinks I've lost my mind. Why exactly does bread type good buff tank specifically? The tenacity stat. Because it's a hearty meal? That's what I'd go with. Well, okay, actually, we should go look at the food on the marketing board and see if there's any parallel between the types of food and the buffs that they give, with any consistency.
It seems my underling provided you with poor sport. Very well. I shall take your measures with my own blade. Do not think to show me quarter, Elio, for I shall surely show you none.
Dad jokes the best jokes. Definitely going to need a bread emote. Okay. I've been thinking about getting emotes made, and so I actually think that I may have my hands on a camera sooner rather than later. So I may not have to worry about that as much. So I'm hoping to put any funds that we get, maybe in the short term, towards also getting some emotes made or something like that. I will make sure that a bread one is definitely among them. Because up until now, I've just made them by using, taking screenshots of stuff in game.
Your strength has humbled us all. It might just be enough. We are done here, my colleagues. Drag away those who cannot stand. display of prowess was truly impressive, Elio. Worthy indeed.
What a ridiculous charade. Did he honestly think we couldn't see through those paltry disguises? Though I am confident that my brother's act was not born of malice. Rather, he hoped by concealing his identity that the trial would seem more threatening, thus increasing its effectiveness. Not an entirely successful undertaking, but one must appreciate his intentions. It is time for you to return to the guild. Oh, and as for a favor to me, pray indulge Eorzean in his little deception. Subterfuge is not a marauder's forte. Remember what Willy Wonka says, candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. This applies for magic caster according to the cookbooks for potions. What water-based mounds would you find in Eorzean? A chocobo. I'd say don't encourage them, Ray Ray, but I know that will do little good. Love when players read quest lines. Hey, Sassy Muffin, yes. You will have everything that is in the game read throughout all of the MSQ. Although, strangely enough, I've been getting a little lightheaded today, so I may have to pace myself just a little bit. My health has been all over the place the past week. I think I'm fine, but
Elio, I have heard your skirmishes on the South Strand. You did well to topple the opponents of such formidable skill. But let us not dwell on the nature of those masked men. What is important is your triumph in the face of overwhelming odds. Your fellow marauders are honored to have you swing your axes in the guild's name. They stand behind you, one and all, as you prepare to overcome your greatest trial yet. Aye, the next time you have come, you bring Kuchita's bloody rampage to an end. When next he rears his horrible horned head, you shall be ready to bury your blade in his skull.
I also am going to turn off the heater because hot air blowing into your mouth while you are trying to read that is not helpful in the least. And I am not appropriate level, so I'm going to have to go ahead and do... Well, any blue quest that we can do that's appropriate? No, we'll save those. So let's go ahead and do Hero in the Making. I may have to do my normal voice for a couple of these because I'm a little lightheaded today. Yes, thank you, Chris. Hello, Chris. I am trying to hydrate as much as possible. I assume it is just a byproduct of doing the voices and not taking as much oxygen as required. And to do with, I've had a cough all week, and luckily I'm able to suppress it pretty decently during stream. But I challenge you to get the shark fishing mount and the penguin minion. Do you mean the shark one from like the expeditions? I on my main character went to go get that shark mount, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be like a week-long affair, or got it on the second run. So it's not too crazy. Although I'd have to level up Fisher in order to do that currently. And I'm trying not to play Elio during the off hours when we're not doing MSQ. So that might have to wait just a little. Hey, finally, new armor. Looks like we will not be seeing Elio's face for a little bit. I love how the armor for Eorzean has like little. They actually add the ear thing to make it make sense instead of just, you know, like I feel like you could just rationalize. Yeah, they just ears are flat to it. No, it has like perfectly fitting ear sockets. Hi all, nice haircut, Elio. Thanks, Ren. Yeah, my hair, I needed a haircut real bad. Real bad. I just did an ocean trawl and was 500 points off the shark mount. Oh, sorry, Nick. What about a tortoise mount? It's good for land, sea, and air. I love that Gamera mount so much. It's so silly. Tin can. Yeah, right. Oh, I don't think I talked to all of the sea scions. And I think we talked to Arnvald, but I don't think we talked to everyone. Okay, I'm gonna do regular voice for a little bit. They say that those of us who have seen the dream are chosen, and that we have within us the seeds of greatness, that we could be heroes. Thanks, Arnvald. Oh, that's interesting. I never realized that Arnvald is wearing the same clothes he wears in 5.x onwards. Well, late 5.x onwards now, like prior to the armor. That's what he ends up wearing. The robberies and disappearances. The Amaljar are the most likely culprit, wouldn't you agree? Then again, this is Hydaelyn. One cannot discount the possibility that moneyed interests are involved. So this boy has Garlean blood in him. Can't say I'm surprised. Everyone knows what happens when a city is sacked, and even the bards choose to omit that part. But Arnvald shouldn't be pitied. Boys like him have a clean slate, an opportunity to write their own story, free of the ties that bind the common man. I did not realize that you could know about Arnvald's parent tree literally onto his very introduction. Why don't any of these blokes know who I am? I swear I was one of scions on the 7th Dawn. Only we didn't have such fancy names back then, and a headquarters was in far more convenient location. At least I think it was. Or is me mind playing tricks on me? Gods, what's wrong with me? Why can't I remember it more clearly? So a lot of these people were actually in 1.0, or at least some of them. This place is called the Waking Sands, and this is our headquarters. It used to be somewhere else, you know, but then a bunch of things happened and we ended up here instead. Well, there are those who possess the echo, none are near as strong as you with the power, hence our extremely high expectations of you. 7 waning moons sees 7 suns rise, divine order rolls, fallen corpses writhe. Thus the divine chronicles seek to warn us once more. The meaning of these words now shall shine clear. They evoke the dire circumstances of this imperiled age. Helmets look really sticky outy with Makota ears. Yeah. Leveling up Sam just made it to 60. It might end up being one of my favorite job quest lines. Oh, good, Aurora. Yeah, it's a decent one. At Los, with, oh my god, my brain's keeps saying Hokusai, but that's not. But yeah, it's the early part of it is pretty good. And the late part of it's decent enough. The realm doth shudder and twist, and the dawn lieth cowering neareth the stifling blanket of night. And we abide. We await the coming of the unborn heir's seed, the light which shall pierce the glowing darkness. And this is why a lot of people did not like Eorzean at first. Don't mind me, lad. I'm just here to deliver a shipment. Now where shall I tell him to put it? I wish Arnvald was one of our duty support NPCs. I think it's quite possible that he may end up being one. It depends on how they take care of Heaven's Word and Stormblood, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up being one. Or if we got trusts for, like, you know, imagine when we do, well, I suppose not when we do Scala, because of the way him and Alfino fall in. They'd have to redo the entire cutscene, but I wouldn't be surprised if that happens one day. Let me face painted boy. Yes. Tragic backstory, but he does not let it weigh him down. Where was the former headquarters of the Path of the 12? 1.0 is not my strongest suit, but it was in Hydaelyn as well. Good old protagonist expectations, no pressure. Brave return to the Waking Sands. Yeah. I can definitely do monotone for Memphilia at least. Oh yeah, okay, we're joining one of the teams. Until not so very long ago, you were but one of many adventurers seeking to make their way in Eorzea. But for your character and courage, you were raised to the esteemed post of envoy. Thereafter, you traveled the realm, aiding those in need without thought of reward, confirming to Y'shtola that the Scions would benefit from your aid, and no sooner had you joined us than your personality bested the primal Ifrit. In case you missed it last time, we are doing monotone Memphilia to match the wooden delivery of her voice acting, and to make that voice acting pop a little more. You have achieved a great deal in a short time, and won fame in so doing. Alas, fame does not come without problems. That's what she was gonna say. We have guests, Elio, or rather, you have guests. It'd be interesting if you got Ilberd as a trust character. I'm trying to think if there's any quest dungeons that makes sense for. You going for some heat, some snake, or some windy seas? Ah, Lady Menphilia, radiant as always. I'm given to understand. Oh no, I'm given to understand the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have been recently welcomed to a new hero into their midst. I, a hero on behalf of the Maelstrom, Grand Company Alimsa Laminson to offer said hero a place of honor within our ranks. I think we're going Maelstrom just because we started in Limsa. We stick with that. We'll be sticking with that. As you can see, Elio, your recent exploits have garnered you the attention of the Grand Companies of Eorzea. Each organization would have Ifrit's Bane for its own. To this end, all three have sent officers to court you. They would not ordinarily go to such lengths to enlist a new recruit. That they have is evidence of their high regard for you. I find myself wondering how would Elio's deed spread so quickly. That the immortal flame should know of his triumphs is to be expected, but what of the other grand companies? Eep! Your reputation precedes you, Master Forgeron. 'Tis of no ordinary man who can face a primal and emerge the victor. The Order of the Twin Adders has a need of valiant men such as you. Join your strength to ours, friend, and together let us ensure that peace ever reigns over the Twelveswood. Aye, what a pleasure it is to meet you, Master Forgeron. My comrades speak of you in the most glowing of terms. A man of your talents belongs with the immortal flames. Join your strengths to ours, friend, and together let us secure a prosperous future for Ul'dah. Nah, man. The Admiral was not exaggerating when she said you'd have to look of a hero. Full oft does she speak of you, friend. As do many others in Limsa Laminsa. Long before the rest of Eorzea took note, your name was well known to us, owing to your valorous deeds on behalf of our citizens. It is our only natural that we should want you for the Maelstorms. Join your strength to ours, and together let us see the grand vessel of Limsa Laminsa to the shores of glory. Let's see if going down helps at all. Your troll has arrived. Thanks, Issa. That, all those face shots when you have that kind of armor are hysterical. Lady Menphilia. Very well. I should make an emote for Slope, because you guys keep using that. Though I am quite sure you need no reminding, mayhap a brief summary of the situation would help clarify your thoughts on the matter. As you know, the Grand Companies are all-encompassing organizations empowered to call upon the martial, economic, and technological resources of their respective city-states in time of strife. There are presently 3 such organizations in Eorzea: the Maelstorms of Limsa Laminsa, the Order of the Twin Adder of Gridania, and the Immortal Flames of Ul'dah. Serving a Grand Company means serving the nation to which it belongs. You will be charged with its defense and tasked with advancing its cause. In return for your faithful service, you will find furnished with various rewards, some of which may prove useful to you in other endeavors. Oh man, I'm gonna stand up. I don't know what's up with me. Get the blood flowing. Whew. If you are agonizing over which of the Grand Companies best deserves your loyalty, be at ease. The commitments you make this day need not be permanent. Should you wish to shift your loyalties, yada yada yada, you know, Grand Companies. Ah, a thought occurs to me. You will of course recall that the 3 city-states are planning to hold remembrance services. As well as part of the proceedings, I am given to understand that the leader of each Grand Company will deliver an address. Hearing these addresses ought to help make you more informed on the decision. What say you, my dear officers? Bitchin'. We eagerly await your answer. I'll get to chat after these cutscenes. I know full well that adventurers are by their nature a liberty-loving breed, and not best suited to the disciplines of military service, but I strongly urge you to join a grand company nevertheless. While the promise of reward is enticing in itself, it is not the only benefit. You are possessed of great power, Elio, and with it you are capable of doing untold good. Yet know that great power is one to great responsibility. I mean attract attention. Not all of it friendly. There will be those who wish you ill, and you must needs be out on the lookout for them. Yet however vigilant you are but one man in the midst of a grand company. However, you will be one man amongst a many friends, a friend amongst friends. Your achievements will be shared, and so will the danger. I can think of no better arrangement. Of course, joining one organization need not mean leaving another. I hope that we can continue to rely upon your aid. The 12 know that we will have need of it in the days ahead. The Grand Company seeks to protect their own nations. We Scions, on the other hand, seek to preserve the future of Eorzea as a whole. Similar, yet not quite the same. I'm going to be happy in Heaven's Word On when she, I don't think, ever has a line that isn't voiced. Now then, I expect that you will be afield more often in the future. As such, I would have you carry this link pearl with you at all times. It will allow us to stay in touch regardless of location. And if you are wondering how link pearls work, you should go check out our video on it. It's like 3 minutes long. They're actually more interesting than you think. Eorzea is changing, Elio, and you have the power to help shape it anew. No one can say what the morrow will bring, but so long as we believe in ourselves, there is naught we cannot achieve. Now it is time you made ready for your journey. Before you depart, be sure to speak to Tataru. She will appraise you as to where and when the remembrance are due to take place. Okay, Uncle Ben. Alright, let's catch up real quick. Elio stood in some orange. Slope. Maelstrom has the simplest salute. Tataru's been flapping her lips at the pissed pice. Snakes have the dumbest. Tataru runs Twitter. Hello, I see Ifrit has been vanquished. Yes, it has. Hello, Atelier. Good to see you. I was wearing that armor when I started the dancer job quest and got complimented on my gracefulness. Titan is next? Yes. Yes, technically, in terms of, like, actual, like, instant stuff, Todorock is next. But in terms of trials or primals, the Titan would be next. You'll be glad to know I got an XLR mic. Awesome. That means that we can use your XLR mic to record audio instead of me having to last moment ask for you to record it in the parking lot at work, and then me doing a bunch of audio tinkering to try and make it sound better. Thank you for doing that, Yusa. I appreciate it. Thank you, Professor. Yes, Catherine. Shoulder lolly. Please pick one of them so they leave. Link pearls so that you don't have to think about why we can talk to each other from great distances. I mean, they make sense within the confines of the world. Oh, I'm sorry. All attention you're getting, Elio. I might have sung your praises a little too loudly and often. To a few too many people. Next time I'll be sure to hold my tongue. Literally, if necessary. Anyway, I expect you want to know where and when the remembrance services are taking place. If all goes to plan, Gridania's Grand Company and the Order of the Twin Adder will hold the first of their 3 services, and the Elder Seed Seer Connie Senna will deliver an address in the Miketo's Amphitheater. I should probably mention that at this point, that due to the organizational challenges involved in assembling all of the involved parties, it's possible that the order of the services might change. Still, there's not so much we can do about that, so make Gridania your first port of call. Next, you'll need to go to Ul'dah, where Flame General Rabban al-Din will be addressing the masses at the Royal Promenade. Oh, and it's rumored that the special guest, how exciting! Last but not least, you must make your way to the stateroom in Limsa Lominsa, where Maelstrom Chief Admiral Merlwyb Bluefusfin will be giving her address. The room is accessible via the Admiral's lift. Identify yourself to the sentry Xanthel and he'll admit you. Got it? Got all that, don't you know? Well, off you go then. I hope you find the remembrance services suitably educational. I suggest visiting the city-states in my prescribed order, though with your record of impeccable timing and luck, the schedule may well change in favor of your preferred travel plans. Farewell. You look like a real Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Wait. Yeah. Look at him go. Beautiful. He is beauty, he is grace. He is the Eorzean currently without a face. Okay, we'll do it in the order that she recommended. What do link pearls actually look like? Because I've never actually seen a model for them in game. If you go look at our video, we have images of them on literally in the thumbnail as well as in the video themselves. They are like little white pearls, and they can actually be different colors, but they're little pearls that are set in like a little golden earring sort of thing that you can like slot in your ear. Told you. Hey, Chrissy. Link pearls are essentially quantum entanglement communication devices. I mean, yeah, but not, yes, but more like relay stations. I mean, they're basically just, the link shells are relay stations. If you think about etheric transfer as the same as radio frequencies, it's effectively the same thing. Oh, also here, this is what link pearls look like too. This, little symbol right here. I think you can barely see it, so you may want to go check out the video image because that'll be better, but, yeah. Top 10 chests of all time, truly. Praise the sun. Looks like a full armored bird. Fair. Hey, Dad, good to have you. Maybe with the graphic rework, they'll make those types of chest pieces have removable helmets. I think that might not be the case because of editing model being different than the texture and lighting work involved, but I hope you're right. I would assume that probably not, but I would hope you're right.
The three seed seers are all together.
Some say you couldn't take a step without stumbling over a body.
That's so funny. Okay, to explain how many few people they had recording audio in ARR. The two people we just heard talking in the crowds were the voice actor for Alfino and Connie Senna, both of which are present in this cutscene.
Were once strangers in the Twelveswood. Fearful of the green wrath, they hid themselves in the dark recesses of the earth. Yet they dreamed of basking in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Through great effort, they proved their worth to the elementals, and were granted a place.
Oh, hey, it's the Archer girl.
Vows. So it was that Gridania was born.
Getting the blood flowing. Don't mind me.
Ago. Working hand in hand, the Hyur and the Eorzean settlers sowed the seeds of our civilization, and soon they were joined by folk of all races. So nourished by the waters of unity, and blessed by the light of the matron, Gridania flourished into the great nation it is today.
Do you see the Gridanian standard? There, hanging behind the Elder Seedseer.
Oh, yes, I do.
The entwined serpents represent the unity between Hyur and Eorzean. An elegant symbol, do you not agree?
And dates back to Gelmora, which our upcoming lore talk will talk about.
The will of the elementals, we have embraced a life of peace.
I think the
Alas,
lighting's bad because it's nighttime.
Our neighbors have not always sought the same for themselves, nor for us. Though we Gridanians have no love for war, we have still less for those who would threaten our way of life. Ever have we fought to protect the sanctity of the Twelveswood.
Yes, AC, I can talk about that in a second.
Conquest to Eorzea, we rallied under the noble standard of the Twin Adder that we might push back the encroaching darkness. And it was we who prepared the ground for the reformation of the Eorzean alliance, that all the peoples of this realm might stand united against the common threat.
I do love that, like, the archer girl, you can see her on the right there. I do love when they have small touches that if you know more about the stuff, more about the... I'm so terrible with names. I can't remember her name for the life of me.
Recent memory. Countless Gridanian lives were lost. As Supreme Commander of the Order of the Twin Adder, ever shall I bear the weight of our people's sacrifice. Alas, their loss was not the only tragedy to befall us that day, for soon came the calamity. The scars borne by our forest
Yeah, but...
are a
Oh my... Okay, there's a lot of lore we gotta talk about
violence.
after the cutscene.
Our lives
Can't wall
have
voices.
irrevocably changed. Each
She
waking
is, but
hour
there's more to
a
it than
struggle
that.
to survive. Driven to desperation, some among us have strayed from the path of righteousness, resorting to banditry, poaching, and other unconscionable deeds. To compound
Yeah, maybe because
our
some of them are
woes,
desperate,
the
because you
Ixal
kicked
have
them out.
returned in force, emboldened by our suffering. They test
Partially because they were desperate because they got kicked out by the elementals.
and prey upon the vulnerable. So beleaguered from within and without, it is of little wonder that our unity now falters. Dark times are upon us.
Time was a man could walk the high roads without fear.
On this day, 5 years ago, countless Eorzeans laid down their lives that we might behold another dawn. Please join with me in honoring their memory.
And how do you propose to honor the memory of those you cannot remember, pray tell?
The destruction wrought by the calamity was indiscriminate. It dealt death to Eorzean and Garlean alike.
Alise being sassy
Yet while
onto
we
literally
have
her
labored
first
to
voice
rebuild
lines.
our homes, to rebuild our lives, the Empire has
Leia,
sent
yeah,
out
thank you, Chrissy.
blazing steel
Lay.
fortresses here in
Lay?
the Twelveswood.
Play.
Let none be mistaken. The Garleans remain the greatest threat to our survival. If we are to stand against them, we must remember what it is to be
Oh, and thanks,
united.
Aurora.
Our many troubles blind us to the woes of our fellow man. Thence is harmony lost. Yet harmony is the founding principle of Gridania. We are gathered here to honor the fallen. Let them be honored not only in word and thought, but through concerted action. I bid you join hands with me once more beneath the Twin Adder standard.
The fact that this cutscene is not half the length that it is why people don't like ARR. In a microcosm, even the voiced sections are too long.
For serenity, purity, and sanctity. We must think of the children.
Woods will be done.
It's up to us to protect the forest. All the elementals!
We must think of the children. Look at the upside down unicorn. Okay, Alfino has a child. I can't take your role seriously with the armor in these scenes. Yeah, don't worry, Tillier. I can't either, and I'm enjoying it. Similar chess piece available for the level 50 Dark Knight quest. Good. Connie Senna needs Verlaine. Got to that. Any reason why the elementals didn't choose? Yeah, okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Alfie, no. And my sister, Alize, at your service. I saw at a glance that you were a fellow traveler. You might call us students of history, sampling the realm's remembrances in pursuit of enlightenment.
Oh, right, it ends the voice lines there. Let's catch up on chat real quick. I like Sam Riegel, but Alfino is a bad character for him. Yeah, I think he is one of the better ones, and I do think that his voice at least works for the fact that Alfino's still kind of stuck up at this point. So I think it's okay, but only because we're comparing it to other ARR, voices. Any reason elementals didn't choose Eorzean to become Pagel? Yes, because the Pagel are descendants of Jorn, Lightbringer, I think, who, and because of that, are a byproduct of like his whole being able, the first one to communicate with the elementals and his line being blessed by them. And so that's why. That's also why they refer to each other as siblings, because they're all in some way related, even if sometimes loosely. Because they can be born into anyone who's one of his descendants. I don't know. Sam's voice suits Alfie when he stuck up a little shit. Okay, yep, Chrissy, we're on the same page. Yeah, isn't she a Leopo? So the thing worth pointing out about the Keeper of the Moons is that there's like a limited number of Keeper of the Moon names, and they're theorized to be as old as the first astral era. And so because of that, there's a lot of people, Keeper of the Moon, who share the same last name, who are very distantly related and not closely related. I know that Ray likes to think of them as cousins, which is it's totally possible, but it should be remembered that just because they share last names, it's like last name Smith in English, right? You, like, two people having Smith, they may be related to each other very distantly, but, you know, it can be quite a few steps of removal. Thanks for different voices for Alice, still sassy. Yep, pray Alice never loses her sass. She never will. Such as just out of college mood for Alice. We're the most harmonious. Sure, if you pronounce harmonious as xenophobe. Called out. I mean, hey, if you're talking about the status quo and you're within your bubble, harmony. A realm reborn, more like a realm resnore. Alfino is 47. Sorry, Tillier, I don't agree with you. I don't. No, I mean, but that's like, it's not so much that it's a snore, but it is. Its pacing is fundamentally makes it more of a struggle than it needs to be to engage with it. At times, like that cutscene it could have been 2/3 to half of its length, and all of its points could have gone across very easily. The Ixal are unquestionably the most troublesome, being of naturally warlike disposition and wont to summon the primals. The Sylphs, by contrast, are peaceful in nature, being mischievous rather than malevolent, and have long been on friendly terms with the Gridanians, until recently at least. Alas, they have grown aloof, a change observed at roughly the same time they summoned the primal Ramu. The Gridanians have no love for war, and they consider open conflict as a last resort. Though they clash with the Ixal ever more regularly, you may be assured that they do so in self-defense. As for the Sylphs, they are as yet bound by a peace treaty, though one wonders how long it will be before it is broken. The Twelveswood was grievously wounded during the calamity, leaving Gridania vulnerable to attack. The people are hopeful that restoring the wood, and thereby the power of the elementals, will put an end to their woes. Yet how long will that take? Centuries, I'd wager. Meanwhile, the Ixal will continue their incursions, spurred on by Garuda and her insatiable appetite for destruction. Whether the Gridanians like it or not, sooner or later it will come to an all-out war, and when it does, the Order of the Twin Adder will need all the help it can muster. How valuable might the aid of a capable adventurer prove them then? I'd like to point out, I have a green top and brown bottoms. I mean, technically I don't have a white shirt, but I'm approaching Shrek. Maybe like Winnie the Pooh. Well, I guess reverse Winnie the Poohing it, because no pants and no shirt. To be fair, these heavy speeches cutscenes come back, so it's understandable that a lot of people tune out during this part of the story. Yeah, and it's not that it's bad. It's not, I don't even mean like, oh, this is egregious particularly. I only mean to bring up the point that, did you say Maelstrom second, or what was it? Ul'dah second, okay. I only bring up the point as a microcosm because it's not essentially like that one thing. It's a it's every time something is twice the length it needs to be, that accrues and becomes more and more burdensome and wearisome, right? there's a cost associated with doing that, and it's understandable and it's forgivable, and it's not like it's oh, it should be decried particularly, but it's worthy of note because it, even coming back through this time very intentionally willing to play everything, it's still kind of like, okay, come on, thank you. Of all the sworn to protect the Sultanate, the soldiers, the mounted guards, and the knights, the Sultana sworn are the elite of the elite. Our conviction unwavering, our hearts true, our sword skills without peer. We are bound to defend Sultana Nanamo Ulnamo, even to the death. Such is the solemn oath that we have taken. And Sultana sworn are the origins of the paladin, though there is such things as free paladins, so you do not have to technically be a Sultana sworn to be a paladin. Seekers are littermates. Not all Seekers, but some are. Their family structure is such that they can have different groups. I think one in Charlene is related to Jalo and Chloe because she is also a ditz. Yeah, that's fair. I was joking, Catherine. I love Rome Reborn. Connie Senna has a univoice problem for far too many pauses. Yeah, but the univoice problem is not Una. Like any voice problem in Final Fantasy X is purely a byproduct of the lip syncing. And the delivery of the Japanese lines. For instance, if you ever wonder why everyone goes, at the end of a lot of different sentences, it's because of people being like "dane," or there's a lot of that in the Japanese script, and so they have to put something there. And they were forced to work within the confines of that, and especially in 2001, voice acting in video games was still in its relative infancy at that point. On top of that, you also had situations like Waka with his ya. Like the reason he used that as much is because I think in the Japanese, I think they go for like an Okinawan accent, more like a dialect really. And because he ends his sentences with stuff like that, they had to find a way to make that a part of the English script because they didn't change any of the lip flaps or any of the cutscenes. It was basically like recording audio over pre-existing animation or localizing like anime or animation where you aren't able to alter it at all. But yes, to be fair, like that was the thing that did happen in Final Fantasy X with characters like Yuna.
Behold, 'tis the Sultana Nanamo herself,
And Roban as well.
Hark you, souls of flame, drawn to the bosom of the desert, where the fire burns brightest and shall rage forevermore. Hurrah! Rauban! Where since antiquity, under the sage and judicious rule of the Ur dynasty, we have wrought sand into gold. Where by the grace and glory of Nalthal have our brave sons and daughters flourished and prospered. I speak of Ul'dah!
There, at the Flame General's back flies the Grand Company's standard. Note the sigil. The golden scales of order balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might.
For those of you who have watched our early and modern Thanalin talk, you may remember those.
Nation has given the realm. In Eorzean's darkest hour, on the killing fields of Cartano, none spent more in blood and gold than we. Thus was the 7th Imperial Legion laid low.
So that's how it happened. How soon history forgets.
Yet many left our gates, never to return. Let us pray for our absent
Silver.
brothers and sisters, that they might know happiness in the great beyond, as
Professor.
Paul's honored guests. If the fates were fair, the price we paid that day would have bought us victory. Alas,
Stop saluting a robot.
and now, but 5 years into this 7th Umbral era, the spirit of sacrifice which granted us our strength is all but dead. Look around you. What do you see? A people divided, downtrodden, and enthralled. Where are the merciful arms
Interesting.
of the
After a certain
rich?
point, he stops doing so much of this and a lot more of
of the
that.
righteous.
I wonder why.
I ask you, is this the great nation our brothers and sisters gave their lives to save? You who call this living, dishonor the name of the immortal flames. It is but a slow death. Our enemies surround us. The savage hordes of the Amalja wait beside our roads, strangling the lifelines of trade.
Hey, Brotherhood.
Meanwhile, the Garleans make mock of our borders and despoil our land of its natural wealth. We stand on a precipice, yet we do not act. Whether trader or soldier, monetarist or royalist, all must recognize that a divided Ul'dah stands to fall. Victory and fortune walk hand in hand. Ye who seek glory and wealth, look not to what little you can snatch from your neighbor, but to the boundless wealth of the world beyond.
I want to play a 5.x or 6.0 cutscene to contrast with this, like as an example of pacing.
In the name of the Sultana, I beseech you. Line not your own coffers, but those of the immortal flames. Seek not to prosper from Ul'dah, but to restore her to prosperity. As the realm prospers, so shall Ul'dah. As Ul'dah prospers, so shall her people.
Not necessarily historically true.
Together we are one.
Oh, that's not entirely fair. Historically, the better it was doing, the better the people did do, but there was always inequality.
People of Ul'dah, I, Nanimo, 17th in the line of Ul, address you. Much has been made of the wealth of Ul'dah. Yet those who measure that wealth in coins and carats are gravely deceived. For the true wealth of Ul'dah lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her people. Beloved subjects, I bid you raise aloft the torch of Ul'dah, that her flames might serve as a beacon for all Eorzean to see.
Long live Nanamo!
Glory to the Sultana!
For victory and fortune, stride fearless into the inferno, for we are by fire reborn!
Cool.
Forsooth!
The time is now!
Fancy meeting you again.
See, like, I would rather them make that half as long as it was and have this part of the conversation voiced, because it's much more important. The Uldans have a long history of conflict with the Amalja, the beast tribe that worships the primal Ifrit. Judging by your look of distaste, I take it you've encountered them. The Uldans do not shy from confrontation. If aught threatens their precious prosperity, they will seek to crush it. So they have dealt with Ifrit thus far, smothering his flames each time he is stoked to life. Yet he is but one of several problems. Though they have been quiet these past 5 years, the Garleans have not gone away. Meanwhile, refugees continue to arrive in droves, and Ul'dah has no clear policy on how to deal with them. After all, not even the Sultanate's coffers are bottomless. Even assuming if they had coin, resources will ever be finite. Which brings me to back to the subject of Ifrit. It has been observed that the Amalja are summoning him with ever-increasing frequency. Every time they do so, the Ul'dan send their forces to smite the primal, and though they invariably succeed, each victory is bought with blood. It is a war of attrition which they cannot well sustain. Small wonder, then, that the immortal flames are eager to recruit more members. At such a desperate hour, an adventurer of your experience would be the most welcome addition to their ranks. Yeah, it doesn't help that, other than the flavor, this conversation is damn near identical. Alfie and Ali are binary twins, basically. So with Pagothan, Ogomoro, and Zelflatal being the homelands of those tribes, are their primals spawning often there, or is it in fringe groups that have been tempered? Or is it a fringe group? So in some cases, it's more fringe groups that have been tempered. Usually, so like for instance, with the kobolds, it's less fringy. With the sylphs, it's super fringy. With the Amalja, it's super fringy. It kind of depends situation to situation. But yeah. Yeah. Let's go to Limsa. We can just return. I never thought of it before, but there's a distinct lack of democracy in Eorzea. Yes. Yeah. You could argue you start to get there with the Republic of... Oh, no, wait. We need to go to... We'll just go to the F Castle. The Republic that ends up being formed in Ishgard, but... Yeah, I do think these cutscenes are interesting and well worth giving time and attention. Just need to be paced a bit better, as well as probably trim some out of the fluff. Yeah, it's not fully a content problem. It is also partially a content problem in their length because of the fact that you don't have full context for why this matters, especially if you're not coming out of 1.0. So you're like, okay, cool, but you know, oh no, it's downstairs. Data Boy is a filthy culprit. If you ever wonder why Naruto screamed "believe it" during a lot of his scenes, yep. But the Ishgardians have paladins, right? Did they develop concurrently? No, the Ishgardians do not have paladins. The Ishgardians have knights. And those knights have some magic ability, but they do not have paladins. There are people from Ishgard who wish to become paladins, but they learn that art from other paladins who were either Sultan Sworn or free paladins, and same place where they get their job stones. I found it hilarious. Tom Kenny was in 10. They have knights which are technically gladiators. Yeah. The other thing is, like, a lot of places people have comparable things, right? Where like the Knights of Ishgard aren't gladiators, but because we don't have a mechanical way to represent them, they are effectively gladiators if you look under the hood. But they, like, in a true sense, they are within the lore distinct from in practices and what they are. Like, some of them have magic abilities in ways that the gladiators don't. But not quite like a paladin. Auron truly is skilled at arms. Kind of funny running into the same two people. Yeah, Sultan's right-hand man. I believe it's just how with every real-world culture, there's different interpretation of similar content. Yeah, Ishgard does not have paladins. There are people from Ishgard who wish to become paladins, but no. Very specifically, that is something that rose out of the War of the Sisters and that legacy. So not a Final Fantasy XIV really question, but I thought you said that you liked FF10 2 days ago. Is it any good? 10-2. I didn't play it after buying it because people said it was really bad. Those people are full of shit. Like, I'm usually not likely to be super opinionated or like be like, everyone's got their opinion. I can be like, oh, 10's not for you. No, if you're saying it's shit, those people are just utter wrong. They're just wrong. I think you can criticize 10-2 as it feels almost like a really good piece of fan fiction for 10 and is somewhat of an unnecessary sequel, but it's fun and it's not bad. It's just different. 10 is phenomenal, especially for the fact that it's 20 years old. You should definitely check it out. If you have any little bit of interest, check it out. There's not a lot I would warn. It's turn-based combat, but I hate turn-based combat, and I still like that game because the sphere grid system and the like actual it's really good for that type of thing. And it's one of my favorite. It is my favorite single-player Final Fantasy story, and I think it's, in my mind, I think it's one of the Final Fantasy stories from 7 onwards. It is the Final Fantasy story other than MMOs, so ignoring 14 and 11. But it is the Final Fantasy story that tells itself from beginning to end as a complete narrative. 15 does not really do that. 13 does not really do that. 12 kind of struggles with that. 9 succeeds. Okay, I think 9's okay. 8 is a little rough in the back half. 7 is all over the place. 7's a mess. I love 7, but if you actually look at 7 as a narrative, it's a mess. Here to attend the remembrance services. Be quick. The Admiral is due to give her address any moment. But yeah, Brotherhood, definitely try out Final Fantasy X. Just no question. I think whoever told you it was really bad. If they said they didn't like it, I'm not going to argue that. That's all totally. But if they're saying it's really bad, that is one of the few times you'll hear me just be like, no, fuck that. They're wrong. He's just getting tired of waiting for someone to give him a hand. Now Raban, it's a lot of play, kind of like how warriors are established culture among the Hellsguard and Abalathia, but clearly they aren't the only ones who have, as we've seen other warriors cultures and them stuff. Yeah, but there's a difference between, but the thing is, there's a difference in the soul crystals as well. Can't hear him. God, these freaking bots. Dark is basically an Ishgardian warrior. Nah, not really. Dark is not really like warrior. I mean, like an excess of, it's not even rage. It's a sense of vengeance and injustice. I would argue, Nicole, that it isn't necessarily like warrior. I would say that saying that it's like warrior is saying paladins like warrior, or like saying gunbreakers like warrior, because they both come from a legacy of bodyguarding, which is not like that's. Yeah. Hello, Supernar Whales, Raban. I do wonder, seeing everyone say that this is bad V acting, yet I haven't had a problem with it or anything to compare with. I think 10 is actively good voice acting. And I think the only, like, I think 10 is, like, especially for being 20 years old, is really good voice acting. I think there's a little bit of stiltedness that is not in the performance, but a byproduct of the recording stuff we were talking about earlier. As many times I've seen this, kind of wants the image. We'll just skip forward a little bit. AR Alphino's voice makes me want to pretend he's a primal and go all Warrior of Light on it. I seriously need to get around to at least record me going through Final Fantasy XIV in French, because I truly do believe the VAs do a fantastic job with it. Definitely Atelier. It's exactly how I felt a lot about Our Story back in the day. Oh, cool story, bro. Final Fantasy II has questionable story and game direction, but it's arguably the best iteration of the ATB battle system to date. I had a blast with the jobs in combat. Some of the more recent iterations of Atelier, like the remakes, like some Final Fantasy VII Remake has, I think, iterated on it to the point that that's maybe no longer the case, but it definitely has one of the best, no question. And the story is questionable. Again, I would frame it as it is, as someone who doesn't necessarily like fan fiction, in most cases, it is what I would describe as really good fan fiction and relatively unnecessary, but not bad. And then for the game direction, I don't know. I don't know. That's fair. I've yet to hear English Xenos, so I just have we're talking about French Xenos.
The Garleans are another matter altogether.
So much for our alliance.
It's sunk beyond the seabed.
Sunk beyond the seabed. I should try that tune for their voice.
Brothers and sisters of the sea, hearken unto me. Look upon this, our mighty crimson standard, and tell me your hearts do not swell with pride. 700 summers have come and gone since our forefathers first ran aground in this fertile bay. In that time, guided by the Mother of Oceans, Limsa Lominsa has grown from humble fishing village to uncontested ruler of the 5 seas and beyond.
It's so funny. I know people argue about Merlib's voice, but I literally don't think that they sound that different from Realm Reborn to...
Did you look as the Admiral bid you? It is a rather stirring standard, I must say. The Crimson Field is meant to signify the blood of fallen crewmates, while the Black Longship represents a pirate vessel.
When the Garlean Empire marched upon Eorzea, we assembled beneath the Maelstrom Standard, and our grand company was reborn. All answered the call, from the Knights of the Barracuda to Hilthier's bloody executioners, and together we met our would-be conquerors upon the field of Cartano. That day, the world bore witness to the united strength of Limsa Lominsa. I swear to you, no army ever fought harder or with more courage, yet many of ours did not survive. Join me now in remembering those who fought in the name of freedom and fell. May their souls be returned to the sea.
Freedom. Yes, they have always been rather fond of their freedom. Much as the beast tribes have. Small wonder. Beneath the surface, one would struggle to tell them apart.
It has been 5 long years since the calamity struck. 5 long years of tireless rebuilding. Yet still the wounds of the calamity fester and weep. But when I stand atop the mizzenmast and gaze out upon our battered and broken vessel, I see an undying spirit. Did we not build all this from the wreck of the Galadian all those centuries ago? Shall we not
good reference.
do so again? Yet there are those
I know that
who would
it's
see this ship of
younger,
ours
so it makes more
sink beneath
sense,
the
but
waves of the restless Rotano. The Sahagin
there's a lot of like
creep
good
ashore
naming
seeking
call
blood for their
shoutouts
accursed
here.
god.
Like I almost wish there was more like a call out to like Gelmora, Sildi, Belladia, and stuff in the other ones. And we get Ormoro Tano, the Gladian.
These savage beast tribes will be the first waves to crash against our creaking hull.
Shows you how far this game goes from here, this point, to 5.4.
The grim tide of the Garlean Empire. Even now, the Curs fly their flags within our borders.
We'll talk about 10 in just a second. I have a lot of things to say to some of these.
We are well nigh surrounded. Yet there are those among us who would rather turn their swords against their
Is that literally just
foes
Minfilia's,
than our
like,
cannons
model?
against our foes.
But with different clothes.
How can
I
we
guess
hope
different hair.
to repel our many enemies when mutiny breeds below deck? There is but one
10-2 has multiple
course
endings,
left to
too.
us. One bearing that will bring us victory over the beast hordes and the Empire both, and see this ship safe to port. We must mend the rift the calamity has reopened twixt pirate and maelstrom, and stand fast with our adventurer brothers against the coming tempest. Mark ye well, a crew without unity is no crew at all. 'Tis but a mass of drowned men. To me, then, brothers and sisters of the sea, gather beneath the undying crimson standard, and pledge me your strength, your skill, your wisdom. And with the guidance of the navigator, this great vessel of ours shall ride the waves till sea swallows all.
Long live the Admiral!
Gather the lads!
Like, yeah, all three of these were a third of, like, 1/3 shorter. They'd be massively improved. And I think you can communicate everything that's important in with a 1/3 abbreviation. I don't know how they're taking me seriously in this.
Fancy meeting you again.
It looks like I can't see. Fair, Ren. Not unfair. As the Admiral mentioned in her address, Limsa Lominsa is plagued by 2 beast tribes. The first are the fish-like Sahagin, worshippers of the primal Leviathan. Y'all should show up for community streams. We can talk about stuff like that there. The second are the kobolds, who dwell beneath the earth and take the primal titan for their god. Alice just doesn't want to look at us. As if the beast tribe's presence weren't troublesome enough, the Garleans have also chosen to erect a fortress right here in Limsa Lominsa's backyard. And that is to say, not of internal strife. As a nation of pirates, there is no end to blood feuds between the various factions. And while they fight amongst themselves, the Garleans whet their blades and watch. If the Lominsans are to have any hope of withstanding the Empire, they must first resolve their own affairs. Differences must be set aside and the primal threat dealt with once and for all. To this end, I expect they will soon take decisive action against the beast tribes. Mark my words, the Maelstrom Standard will be drenched a deeper shade of crimson ere long. That a capable adventurer like you would be a valuable addition to their crew is beyond question. But will you sail with the Admiral? Oh, that pensive look. Okay, real quick, I'll cover the 10 stuff. X2 bothered me because it has a hard to get good ending. So getting the good ending in that game is horseshit and absolute bullshit. I would also point out that getting the ultimate weapons in Final Fantasy X is not only legendary at the time, but is still to this day heralded as one of the hardest, if not the hardest, ultimate weapons to get for some of them. Like, you know, Lulu's. Elio, this is Minfilia. You are well, I hope? Would I be correct in thinking the final remembrance services has now concluded? A moment ago you say, what a coincidence. Jesting aside, I trust you remember our guest from the Grand Companies. Well, delighted though we are to have them here at the Waking Sands, it would not do to keep them in suspense any longer than necessary. In short, hurry the fuck back. There is no Final Fantasy. There is no 10-3. I mean, there's Calm, but Calm is one of the worst travesties. And oh my god, and the light novel. Yeah, just, if you're interested in playing 10-2, do, and you don't even necessarily have to consider it a form of canon, but holy crap. You know what, actually I'm not gonna use a ticket. I'm just gonna do this so we can talk while I walk. But holy shit is Calm, and I've never seen something ruin something or just misunderstand something so fully as that audio drama. I still have a strategy guide for 10, a little late, but I like the small explanation of every flag. Yeah, me too, Brotherhood. I really love the explanations and the details and that lore. And we also touched on them in all our lore talks. Wait, 10 and 10-2 have different endings. 10 does not. 10-2 does, which is also part of like why 10 to me is such a perfect. It tells its story and ends and like tells its story. And 10-2 is more like a wild fan servicey, fan fictiony, what if continuation that's kind of just fun if you're there for it. And the 10-2 endings are interesting because as much as there's a canonical ending, which is the hardest ending to get, but all of the endings are actually really interesting, other than the one where Vegnagun fires, because that one is actually just everyone dies. Yeah, I like Limps and Limits because I find living by the sea soothing, especially around locations such as Summerford Farms or Red Rooster Said. Also, totally not because this is where most of the sea wolves live. Filio Tillier. Though all good, I don't mind being wrong. You're just stumbling around the garbage can, nothing to worry much about. Tillier, you just want to watch the community buy the Aetheryte, don't you? Hey, look, I'm just saying that Femros are by far the hottest race. I'm not even going to say fight me, because you don't... Arguing over attraction is pointless. We all have our own druthers. And before somebody around Elio mistakes him for a walking trash can they stuff a banana peel inside his helm? I like that take, Aurora. Do we all agree that Elio will have to glamour himself as a garbage can for this playthrough? My plan is to go with whatever the canonical armor would be at the time, so I'm trying to get warrior as soon as possible. I like the take. Even Minthelia lost her patience. Tell them to go home. Would make the cutscenes hilarious. Actually, no, that plaza is literally Mos Eisley. My favorite, maybe my favorite meme of all time is that image of you've never seen such a wretched hive of scum and villainy, and it shows the next panel instead of Mos Eisley. Someone just pasted in Limsa. So good. Actually, hey, wow, sorry I'm late to the stream. No worries. I'll Jrun. So Julali. Because Druntia, so Julali. So glad to have you here. So no worries at all. Glad to always. Hey, Crotorize, good to see you. Hey, Mr. Archives, how's the leveling going? Well, leveling is going slow, but the content's going through. I may end up leveling warrior or something in my free time, doing pre-existing dungeons, so we're ahead on that if we, in my off time, but we'll see. Welcome back, Elio. You're finally here. Were the Grand Company leader's words as illuminating as you had hoped? Aye, each nation is best set with its own problems. I trust you see now why your services are in such demand. Would that there were more of you, Elio. But you must be tired from your journey. Why don't you rest a while and take a moment to reflect on your decision? Once your mind is made up, pray give the Grand Company's officers your answer. I know it would be hyper-conventional, but it's so wild to me that the color choices for the different Grand Companies are so weird.
What Grand Company our adventurer friend will keep. The wheels of change are in motion regardless.
Hey, Des. And to be fair, Des, that's part of why I dislike Gridania.
This course is best.
Doesn't feel like a city. Feels like a
Whatever do you mean, dear
courtyard
sister?
to a city.
The so-called remembrance ceremonies were little more than standard waving rallies. As though the Calamity and Seventh Umbral Era warranted scarcely a mention.
Well, of course they were standard waving rallies.
Yeah, that's a fair point,
Since it was
Brotherhood.
so
I'll get back to that in a
observant,
sec.
Mayhap you noticed what mention was made of the Warriors of Light? None. I suppose they must have forgotten the heroes who spared Eorzea a fate worse than the Calamity?
Des,
No,
to be fair,
dear
everyone in my
sister,
FC loves
they haven't
Gridania, so
forgotten
you're not
these
alone.
details. They have elected to omit them. Deep are the wounds the Calamity inflicted upon Eorzea. So deep, in fact, that the realm still bleeds. Needless to say, the beast tribes and their primals do little to alleviate the pain. So, the task of salving Eorzea's wounds falls to the scions of the Seventh Dawn, with a little help from our friends, the Grand Companies. Remembrance will yield no remedy. If our world is to heal, we must put the horrors of the Calamity behind us.
Our grandfather would never entrust the fate of the realm to despots who rewrite history to their convenience. There must be another way to cure what ails this world, and I need to find it.
You are most welcome to try.
Don't worry, me
Our
too, Chris,
paths
me
may
too.
differ, but our destination is the same. In time, I dare say we will see eye to eye.
I should hope
I don't mind him too much, but Alfino's such a little shit. Also, that's the last time you're gonna see her.
We are to escort you.
Until you do binding coils.
To it. We share the burden of this fate, dear sister, and will prevail together or not at all. The salve will serve not only to close up our present wounds, but prevent old ones from opening anew.
And if you don't do coils, you won't see her till 3.x. Elio has time off. Have you been streaming at least 3 evenings in a row? Yeah, I stream 3 days a week. I then do a video. I have a video on Wednesdays. Fridays, I have the Fridays we do book club, and that's when I also do play with my static. And then Saturdays we have community streams. So I guess I stream 4 days a week. The only day I have fully off is Sundays, and I'm usually working on videos all throughout all of those, and plus other real life work to maintain monetary funds. So fair enough with not having free time. That's kind of true. Ever since last stream, I can't unhear Sam Riegel as Alfino. Never noticed it before. Yeah, it's pretty severe. Scanlan Levelier. Hoping to love Gridania makes me she's pissed off. Yeah, plus Ellison is in uniform or hot. I wonder what happened to Alistair's butlers here. I know they do show up again during some parts of Coils, but afterwards they were never seen again. Yeah, because she like wants to go full on her own and like not have them anymore, and so when she like learns Red Mage from Droon and stuff, I think she's just at that point totally solo. I suppose she's fired them and told them to go back. Yeah, she probably send them back to Charlian. Or if they're Eorzean, she just like let them go. Faster than me on the trigger, Elio. Yeah, well, only in cutscenes. Alfino, let's take his lunch money. Alpha Nerd, let's take his lunch money. Question about the Eorzean twins. I recently reread. Also, on Alicate, she is like pissed off but the thing is that she thinks Eorzeans are wasting her grandfather's legacy, and up to this point, she cannot understand why he bothered sacrificing himself for their benefit. And that's part of what the Binding Coils is about, which is part of why it's so fucking important you play the Binding Coils, and yet it's not mandatory. And I understand mechanically why it's not mandatory, but it's wild. On the bright side, for those who haven't, you can go watch our summary video. How was the Admiral's speech? Ah, but you need not explain. That you stand before me now is answer enough. You've resolved to join the Maelstorms, have you not? That's the spirit, lad. With allies like you, how much stronger is our crew? Let us brave the seas together, friend. Now the choice is made, it is time to add your name to our rolls. Make your way, Maelstrom Command back in Limsa. Kyle, question about Elves and Twin. I recently reread Louis Sois' short story, and apparently they have different goals. Why did they go to Eorzea again? Something with their grandfather, think. Yeah, so they went to Eorzea kind of to carry out his legacy. Tis on the upper decks, in the case you haven't forgotten. I'll send word to the person offered to accept you. The duties of the Maelstrom soldier can be both arduous and challenging, but I promise you, you will not regret the choice. May your passage be swift and your bearing sure. They, especially with the tomes that they were granted by their grandfather, they wanted to carry on his legacy, but they had very different opinions about the ways to go about it, and they still do onto, in some ways, you know, even onto Endwalker, because they, you know, Alphino is the diplomat, is the politics, and then Alice is the get shit done. Alphino loves people, and then Alice loves people, like individuals. And so she really struggles because she's in this world and she has no connections to any of us. And she just sees us as wasting her grandfather's sacrifice, which is why she's so upset. But at the same time, she's not going to leave because she still thinks she needs to uphold what he did and to fulfill, not necessarily fulfill his legacy as a burden, but because she wants to. And Binding Coils is all about Alphino and especially Alice finding their purpose in defending Eorzea. That's not just about carrying on Louis Sois' legacy, but their own reasons to fight for it and defend it. Some of the servants even joined the Grand Companies, wonder if they're still there. Yeah, Alphino and Chatty say, are you going to join the Maelstrom? Yes. I typically just go ahead and join whichever one I started in because that just seems the obvious choice in my mind. It's almost weird to me that they let you choose. I mean, it's fine. It's good that you have choice, but it's almost weird. Is Elliot going to do the coils? Yes, I will do the coils. As far as I'm concerned, when I'm doing this, I will be doing every piece of story content that I consider, like, functionally MSQ, which means all the trial series, all the alliance raids, and all of the raids, because those are all become relevant at further points in the MSQ, to the point that, like, Binding Coils becomes hyper relevant, Alexander becomes hyper relevant, Omega becomes hyper relevant, Eden becomes hyper relevant. I'm assuming Pandemonium will become hyper relevant. The Alliance raids, as much as, like, technically the Maki raid in theory is not super relevant, the Void is clearly super relevant for some of you who are, you know, aware of current events, and even prior. So, who's winning the poll? Oh, Limsa. My name is Elliot Forcheron, and I believe you are expecting me. Elio Forcheron, aye, our recruitment officer sent word of your coming. It shall be my honor to induct you into the ranks of the Maelstrom. Now, before I can accept your oath, you must be made aware of several... Sir! What is it, Private? And this had better be important. Sir, we received a report from the lookout in the lower Lenosian, sir. Imperial forces have fired upon the High Winds Skyways airship. The vessel is in bad way, sir, and appears to be banking for an emergency landing in Cedarwood. Ah! Biggs and Wedge. Cedarwood? Damn it, we have no troops available in that area. The bulk of our infantry is bogged down on the coast, skirmishing with the fishbacks. Forgeron, this is highly irregular, but I fear your first duty in service to the Maelstrom must needs be unofficial. It is our man in Lower Lenosia is correct. The airship will come down in a territory crawling with Imperial scouts. If there are any survivors, we must reach them before the Garleans do. Make haste to Cedarwood, locate the airship, and if any of our occupants are alive, make sure they come to no further harm. We'll see about swearing you in upon your return. It's not gonna stop being funny. Looks like Limsa Limits won. I'm actually kind of surprised about that. Fuck it, let's walk from Moribi so I can talk to people. Many people get help from higher level friends with coils. I mean, that's the thing, is you're literally, if you're level 90 and you're a paladin or many of the jobs, you can just solo it. It can be difficult for certain mechanics like Nail, but you can do them. I've soloed it with an unsynced 90. I mean, I'm assuming I'm not going to be over leveled that much by the time we hit coils, so we'll probably maybe just get a bunch of you guys in and we'll just unsync it all together. that'll be a fun time. All of you guys just going ham on Nail. But yeah, it'll be a good time. They would have to fundamentally rework Binding Coils in order to make it workable for something that would be normal. They would have to, they would need to redo, not redo all the fights, but they would have to change the symbols and the like universal symbols for all the fights first off, which they should do regardless. And then they would have to make a normal mode version of Binding Coils, because we have normal mode versions for everything, and then we have a Savage mode. But then Binding Coils, they were first figuring out how they wanted to do raids, so normal Binding Coils is Savage, effectively. But they also can't expect that you're going to be level 90 and able to unsync it, you know, by the time you should be playing it in story, for obvious reasons. So, you know. Many people get Hydaelyn, Maelstrom, Best Storm. I mean, to be fair, my main is from Ul'dah, and I'm even on Maelstrom on him, but that's because that's a relic of when the Grand Company you were part of used to decide your PvP team. And Maelstorms just kept winning on my server, so I just said, fuck it, we'll do Maelstrom. Also, Limsa was convenient for a bunch of different reasons, because there was, you know, the market board's the most convenient, meeting up there super convenient, so there are a lot of reasons that I ended up doing Maelstorms. Ailstorm Funny Band. Tillier, Bagyur, Chad, I love that one. Take the boat from Vesper Bay, it's only 80 gil. Yeah, no, I could have walked out the thing. This is more about being able to talk to you guys and covering this, so that way I don't have it get way out of hand during cutscenes. Dibs on joining for Crystal Tower. Yeah, absolutely, Ren. For any of you who want to join for any of the Alliance raids or non-duty support or trust trials, feel free to say so. Same here, I call dibs on the raids if time will permit. Absolutely. I'll be honest. I know we don't get a ton of people in here, but we get a lot of you guys talking, a lot of engagement, and I really appreciate it. I would really love if when we did trials, we had an 8-stack of people for that. Because I also don't want to, like, go in with, you know, a 6-stack, and then there's 2 people who aren't part of it, and they're like, what's with this fucking group? You know, and we're maybe doing something fun or weird, or we want to take a second to talk about the boss, or, you know, any number of things. Community CT runs sounds so fun. Oh, good, Aurora. I'm glad you think so. I would love it if we could all play it together. And speaking of, if you would like to play together, we have community events every Saturday. Technically, it's an hour ahead, but it's an hour ahead of the start time for this, but partially because you have to be on Crystal in order to play, and so the EU people can't play anyways, and so doesn't matter that it's later. But we would love to have you for the community events, and what we do is you know, anyone can come in and they'd be like, hey, I want to get this triple triad card, I want to get this minion, I want to get this mount, I haven't done this trial series. It can be anything, and we just kind of help each other do it. It's a really fun time. Dibs on healer for coils. Totally, go for it, Professor. If unsynced, rolls don't matter, if I recall. Yes. But I would preferably, I guess for coils, fun sync, it won't matter. I'm mostly a tank main, but I have some DPS roles, although I do have 2 other endgame ults with better job variety, so I can pretty much fulfill every role if needed. I'm the same, Atelier. I'm definitely a tank main. I'm waiting for sale to buy skips for my ult on Goblin. Cool, Nick. Makes sense for Elliot to join the Maelstrom since he's Charlian. Yeah, that's a good point, Professor. Good call. I joined, but I'm on Aether. Sorry, Power Me. Also, hi. Glad to have you. I don't know if I said hi. Saw you earlier. Hope with 6.18, Aether and Crystal should be able to. No. What's the other American server? Aether is EU and Primal it's Crystal and Primal, right? We'll be able to play together. I am on Crystal Zalera. So this character is on Curl, but so like for community events I'd be playing on Crystal Zalera. But if you're on Crystal, that's all that matters. Okay, Professor, you're on Goblin, so we can play together. I do need to get back into trial mount collecting. Cool, Tillier, let's get together then. Let's get people together and have a good time. If you're unsure about when our release schedule for streams or videos is, it's the same every week, and you can find it on the Discord. Ah, an adventure. Where are you doing out here? No, wait. Let's find some cover first. Oh, cool, Supernar. Well, it makes it even easier. I'm on Primal. Well, we should be able to play together within a month or two then, Chris. Because Primal is the other American server, right? It's Primal and Crystal, Aether. Maelstrom Command sent you. How do you know you're not an Imperial spy? You don't even have a uniform. That's not gonna get old. I can't stick around with this forever, but it's real funny. Be at ease, sir. We are of the Maelstorms. You're a Garland Ironworks engineer, yes? One of our lookouts reported the attack on your craft. We're here to rescue you. You must be Forgeron. Good work on reaching out to our friend here before the Imperials. I've never seen a craft. Oh, I'm doing that. But wait, Garland. Garlands don't really have an accent. I've never seen a craft of this design. It must be Garland Ironworks. Is there no end to the man's treachery? The secrets of Magitech belong in Imperial hands. They're not to be squandered on Eorzean savages. Notice the same language we use for beast tribes. We are taking this craft back to the fortress. Dismantle it if you must, and bring the engineer. Someone must pay for Garland's crimes. Scouting party from Castrum Occidens, I'd say. It seems they want your ship engineer. How is this cover? Wedge! You have to help him. The fool of a Lalafell was hiding inside the tiny Bronco. The tiny Bronco? Isn't that a new design people have been whispering about? It's the first ship we've built since the Calamity. The first since Master Garland, well, since he went missing. After years of work, she was finally ready for her first test flight, and she was soaring. She really was, till those bastards blasted her out of the sky. All right, pay attention. We're going to hit these Imperials hard and fast. If they want a souvenir from Eorzea, they can have a knife in the gut. But they're not getting the ship. Oh, and don't forget to save the Lalafell. What say you, Forgeron? Ready to give those curs a hiding? Interesting way of putting it. Like a tidal wave, lads. Charge! That was a weird way of saying that. Kick their asses. Oh, thanks, Aurora. Yeah, I'd commit more to doing some of the other accents, but I'm not particularly good at a British one. Actually, before stream today, on my way home, I was practicing Yorkshire accent for when we get to more Alamegan stuff. So I will hopefully have a decent enough one. My problem is I keep slipping in between that and the one I'm doing for Limsons. I got the Rose Lantern on my first Extreme Ravana. Nice, Professor. Oh, I should probably turn on Tank Stance. My main is on Curl, while I have an alt on Goblin, another on Diablo. So while it's Hillier, then you have multiple people ready to go for me to be able to play with us. Good job coming out here and talking to this guy. You think they call it the Tiny Bronco because it's referring to Biggs and Wedge? Yeah. I mean, it could be a reference to the older ones. I mean, I assume so. There's also the Bronco class airships as well. So we've got both going on. Garlean sounds like stuck-up jerks. Yeah, I guess I think I'll just go with that. Ooh, it's gonna be fun to try to do Xenos to get the simultaneous hiss down, but also like a but it's not like the ass. He's like, hey, I am a did. It's not quite that, right? I also love how much, for anyone who's played 10, I want to hear your opinion on this. Seymour, Xenos' voice reminds me of Seymour. They're not quite the exact same character. They've got like very different perspectives and opinions on nihilism and experiences, but at the same time, their voice actors both have, it's not that their cadence and stuff is the same, but they have very unique, almost singular voices that are like really almost mesmerizing. I've always loved both of those voice actors. Like Seymour's voices in Final Fantasy X is just so good. Xenos equals bored and dismissive. Yeah, but there's also like it's not Venom, but it's bored and dismissive. But at the same time, it's got almost like a small rasp to it. Garleans are the Eorzean versions of Mean Girls. I may have to try to figure out a way to incorporate that. Also, hey, Nano, did I say hi earlier, Nano? If not, hello. Biggs. I don't even know what you call Biggs's, Wedge, you shouldn't have stayed with the ship. That was a close one. That was too damn close. Ah, my voice is not. So how's it looking anyway? The auxiliary propeller is a dead loss, but I think we can wring enough thrust from the main propeller to get us up airborne. A few minor modifications and we should be able to fly the tiny Bronco home. We'll stand watch until the ship is ready to take off. The Imperials will come looking for their scouts eventually, but I doubt they'll have any get here for a good while yet. Forgeron, you're free to return to the Maelstrom Command and complete your induction. Ordinarily, I'd ask you to stay, but I think we'll feel all the better knowing an adventurer of your ability was safely sworn in and ready for the next mission. Rest assured, I'll inform command of the part you played today. I just wanted to say sorry. You know, for calling you an Imperial spy and all that. Got that one wrong, didn't I? Seriously, though, if it hadn't been for you, the Maelstrom lads there would have been chained up in the dungeon by now. I'm in your debt, friend. We both are. Wedge. Thank you. We're very grateful. If you had a question you want to ask about 6.1, go into our Discord, Parmeet. Ray, if you're around, if you could relink the Discord for anyone in here who is not in the Discord. Feel free to ask me that at me. I think there's also someone else, I believe Shadow, in our Discord, asked me an Endwalker question right before, asked a Endwalker question right before stream started, so I couldn't answer them. But I have many things to say about 6.1. However, we are avoiding talking about 6.1 in here, especially any major reveals, especially in 6.0 and as well, and major reveals of most of the major reveals of Shadowbringers. However, most other things are relative fair game. Everything in Heavward's pretty much fair game. Everything in Stormblood is fair game. Most of Shadowbringers is fair game, other than maybe some of the stuff in map 6. And then Endwalker, for the most part, we're trying to avoid, other than talking about, like, broadly, like, Thavnair and Sharlayan and stuff like that. Like, you can mention Labyrinthos, right? But yeah, I'd love to talk about it, Parmeet, so please do. I think call time. Xena's board. Droning vocal fry, can't get enough. I hope that I don't know if you're being I hope you're being serious, Nicole, because if so, you're welcome. If not, I'm sorry. I think the word you're looking for is a menace. Welcome back, Phototron. I heard the report. You needn't be concerned about the engineers. They completed the return trip without further Imperial interference. I must admit, I had my doubts at first, but it seems the stories about you are true. I look forward to seeing what else you're capable of after you're properly inducted into the Maelstrom, of course. Now, speaking of your induction... they shared a similar role in the story that are fascinated and enthralled by the hero of the story. Yeah. There's also really interesting parallels between Titus and Seymour. Both got daddy issues. You're welcome here, Elio Fosram. That is such a well-respected adventurer could choose to join our ranks is most heartening. Before you swear your allegiance to us, however, it is only right that I tell you exactly what it is that you'll be joining. A grand company is more than simply a collection of soldiers. It is an all-encompassing organization which draws upon the resources of an entire city-state to form a united military force, capable of standing against a nation's deadliest enemies. We of the Maelstrom are charged with meeting the threats posed by the Primals and the Eorzean Empire, and solving the many problems caused by the Calamity. Every man and woman who serves under our colors has a role to play in keeping the great warship that is Limsa Lominsa afloat, and on whatever heading Chief Admiral Merlwe Bluefisfin sees fit to set. A part of this grand vessel's crew, you'll be expected to take your turn for the oars, for the winds do not look favorably, lad, and strength of arms may be all that sees us to safe port. I have lost you I've lost you with talk of the ship and ore. Let me put it another way. A Maelstrom soldier labors till his last breath, fights till his last drop of blood. We give all in our service to the nation, and no less is expected of you. Forgeron, it is customary for a new recruit to swear an oath of their choosing upon entering the Maelstrom's ranks. Is there aught you'd like to say? I remember when this didn't exist in A Realm Reborn. They added this retroactively. I almost want to say nothing, but that's not right. I don't have a sword, so that's wrong. What skills I have are yours. What skills I have are yours what skills I have are yours till sea swallows all. I should do my like reader voice, right? Shouldn't I? Because yes, the many varied skills of the adventurer. I've no doubt that your travels have furnished you with such knowledge as will prove invaluable to our cause. Elio Forcheron, I hereby assign you the rank of Storm Private 3rd Class. You're now officially a soldier of the Maelstrom. Welcome aboard, Private. May you serve limb to limb so well till sea swallows all. I guess it's right hand, isn't it? That's right, you better fucking clap. On Wednesday, we wear Magitech. Can you hear me, Elio? This is Minfilia. An officer of the Maelstrom contacted me with news of your enlistment. My congratulations, Private Forgeron. I have no doubt that you are eager to make the acquaintance of your new comrades, but I would ask that you pay a visit to your old ones first. I almost want to make her more like sarcastically. Remember, though you are now a man of the storm, you are no less a scion. Pray return to the waking sands. I want to hear it in chat. Pray return. At your earliest convenience, there are some friends here whom I'd very much like you to meet. We shall be waiting. No rest for the wicked, eh? Before you make yourself scarce, I recommend you having a word with Commander Riki. Might be worth your while. Oh, I wish Sabrine was here. Oh gods, imagine the wedding scene in Final Fantasy X, except it's between Xenos and Warrior Flight. And the Scions come in an airship to crash and save you. Well, I guess that doesn't really work for my Warriors of Light, because they're all male. I feel like a more apt description because, like, okay, missing party member. You don't really have a romance. I guess, like, for the community, what I would say is Xenos has captured Y'shtola, and it's the wedding scene, and then all of the Scions come riding in. Probably because Y'shtola's like the symbol for a lot of the community of this, you know, Scions. Aye, well, if it isn't Private Forgerant, I must say the tales of your deed have been inspiration to the troops. Our duties take us far and wide, and I'll wager you've slogged across quite a few moms of countryside on naught but your own 2 feet. Such a sterling soldier of the Maelstrom deserves his own steed. Let us see about having one issued for you. All you need to do is obtain a Storm Chocobo insurance by exchanging company seals with the quartermaster. Once you have this deed, present it to the Freygim, and she will see you saddled up with one of our trusty birds. Freygim. Is it Geem? It's Geem, I think. Freygim. I think it's supposed to be, it's hard G, right? Geem. I think it's Geem. It's either Geem, it's Geem or Geem. Fuck. Quick query, what are Biggs and Wedge's name? Either of them name, their names are Biggs and Wedge. They are, not their names are cover identities. I don't think we actually know their actual names. There may be someone in Deep Lore that actually can, who may know that, but as far as I remember from E1, we don't know them. Is that on this level, or no, it's on the level below. Okay. Let's see how many I have to earn. Let me answer you guys while we wait. If you enjoyed the stream, oh, thank you, Ray Ray. Thank you for always never being far away. You are a godsend, a 12 send, as it were. I cannot tell you how much easier my life has been dealing with the Discord and streams thanks to Ray Ray. Biggs and Wedge and tradition. Yeah. So tell you, yeah. It's talking about them being a reference, but more like I think in universe, what are their names? Des, thanks. I'm in the post Shadowbringer stuff right now. Cool, Des. I hope you're enjoying it. 5.x is phenomenal, and then 6.0, ooh, what a ride. I mean, like, as far as I'm concerned, I love the game Heavensward on. I mean, I remember what I like, but like, I really enjoy Heavensward. I really enjoy Stormblood, and I really enjoy like 3.x and 4.x. But like, once you get to Shadowbringers on, it's just like a, it just like keeps, like, you don't want to stop. Want a birdish, you say? Then I'll need you to see your Storm Chocobo insurance. Of course, you'll need to exchange storm seals for it. You can earn these by completing tasks for the Maelstrom, Linz and Lamince's Grand Company. Oh, I didn't realize that I should have just bought the thing from them. I probably don't have enough seals though. Then never been more serious for that vocal fry. Hi, this is Elio Faucheron talking to you at 747. Link Pearl are what would be the radio station for like Eorzea? 777 Eorzean Archive. And this is Isadora with the news. I've been Elio Faucheron, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah. Something like that. Oh, no. I need to talk to you. Which one is under? Why do you make it so hard to find them? No. Storm Chocobo license. Oh, it's only 200. Okay. We'll go do Fates. Or actually, did I hit 30? I did not. Well, that's actually a good, even better reason to do Fates. Or, actually, I should pick up. I could also just look at what items they need. And buy it off the... Or actually, do I have any... No, I don't have anything geared to turn in. Oh, I'm not high enough level to do that yet. Never mind. Actually, I never did the missions. I don't know what they... the various weighted communities reform among the Grand Company related quests. One method includes this Grand Company hunting objectives. Okay. No, that's founding free companies. Actually, I'm gonna found a free company for Elio for the Eorzean Archives in a little bit later. I'm not authorized. Okay, wow. Actually, let me see. Can I pick up the daily hunts at the very least? Nope. Okay, well, fuck my life. Okay, I'm level 29, so I want to be in either Eastern or Western Lenosia for Fates. Well, let's give me time to talk to you guys. Okay. Understandable. I think the reason behind the game, going by Bigs and Wedges, protect their families from their identities. That is correct, Atelier, because we know that the Garleans retaliate for people who leave. With the world in the state it is 0.6.0, maybe we'll find out their real names. By the way, I think these streams would pull in more views if each stream the title put in maybe a milestone or part in the story you're on rather than just part 5, part 6. You get what I mean? Yeah, pardon me. The problem is I like them being able to be understood what they are, and also it's not wrong, but also the amount of times that I've also tried doing that and it actually doesn't change much. I may end up trying it, but I'd like it. The benefit of the titling is to keep it really convenient to figure out which one's which. Because I've had the reality is that a lot of people who even are subscribed just don't know I stream. Like the amount of people who comment on stuff like, wait, you stream is more than half. Or people are like, well, I don't watch you because you stream on Twitch. I'm like, I don't stream on Twitch. I don't want, oh, that's 44. I need to go. Well, okay, then maybe I want to go to Eastern Lenosia. But, you know, maybe you have a point. So maybe I'll consider that, pardon me. But also the problem is that there isn't a drastic difference between a lot of the parts sometimes. Like, there isn't a huge difference. But yeah, could you label this, let's get our Chocobo, you know, the arrival of the Chocobo or something, yada, yada, yada. You could. Yeah, this is all new to me. Prey Return. Oh my god, that was a while ago. Oh my god, guys, I'm sorry. I'm not caught up at all. Everyone talking about Xenos and Alice, capturing. Okay. Xenos is peak asexual rep. He's battle sexual, right? Like, that's the one place his passion comes from. Loves me, this I know, because he always tells me so. He has haunted me everywhere I go. Was nice lurking, but I'm going to go to bed now. I'll catch the rest of the morning as usual. Have a great rest of your stream. Oh, sorry, Knockout. Sorry I didn't say bye. Well, if you're watching the VOD, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Take care, Knockout. Good people are saying bye to Knockout. That's good. Shame that Stormblood is in between Heavensward and Shadowbringers. How come, Professor? 30, 42, 34. I don't know what that's a reference to. Shame that Stormblood is still good. I'm confused. At Ran, Atelier, Fates, Atelier. I'll make a tune on Curl, join that. Awesome. Xenos is just evil Goku. I mean, but like Goku finds other joys. Like Goku appreciates and enjoys food. He appreciates like yes, he wants to constantly grow stronger. But if anything, the Warrior of Light is a lot like Goku because of the appreciation of friends and food and stuff. But Xenos literally is a tragic figure because he is incapable of. Oh, actually, I didn't realize it's just the giant boss, but I'm not gonna solo that. Whereas Xenos is tragic because he literally doesn't feel anything other than those small moments of time in which he truly has a moment of competition. So wrong, though. Goku can live a happy life as a farmer and father. Yeah, like, that's the thing, is that Goku can be happy, and Xenos literally can't. And it's not even that... It's not even that fighting... It's not really just that fighting makes him feel happy. It's that it's the only way he feels anything. Otherwise, the rest of the world's so boring. It's good expansion that is placed between two exceptional Smiths. I don't think... Okay, I know a lot of people... I don't think Heavensward is much better than Stormblood. I really don't. I think a lot of people also forget that the reason that they think Heavensward is so good is because they include 3.1 through 3.3. If you just talk about 3.0, Heavensward is not nearly as good, I think, as a lot of people argue it is, because the Dragonsong War is effectively, it almost feels like an expansion missing its final act, whereas Stormblood actually feels like its third act, its 0.1 through 0.3 actually feels like an extension of its story and kind of rounds it out, but isn't necessary for it to complete. I think Stormblood has missteps, but I am someone who I think people laud Heavensward over Stormblood far too much for the strengths that Stormblood does have. Ren, it's not so, you can come join me. It's not so much leveling, it's more we need fate tickets in order to get our Chocobo. Atelier, oh my god, me neither. I really love Heavensward, but I found Stormblood more interesting than Shadowbringers. Yeah, okay, I can't get you behind you on that. I can't follow you there. I do think that Shadowbringers is just far better than Heavensward or Stormblood, but I don't think, like, here's the thing. I think Heavensward is phenomenal. I also think that people often compare 3.0 and up to 3.3 against 4.0 more than they do comparing 3.0 versus 4.0, and I don't think those are fair comparisons. Often I see those points made. And a lot of the common critiques of Stormblood I agree with. I just think that a lot of its strengths people don't point towards. Like, to me, the way the expansions have been going, it's just been getting better and better. Yeah, for me, I consider Stormblood and Heavensward about equal. I think the thing is that Stormblood has so many quiet moments that are incredibly powerful and meaningful. You think to, like, Gosetsu's moment in front of the Nahama Desert, and stuff like that. The way that they develop the culture of the steppe and of Doma, and the relationship between responsibility and Hien is just as fascinating as the relationship between Americ and the way he navigates the world. I just think that, and I also am bothered by the amount that people are like, Lisa's awful, because it's kind of, Lisa's has a character arc because she effectively has to be reintroduced right before the expansion begins and goes on a narrative arc, the same way that Alfino does over A Realm Reborn through Heavensward and gets to do that. And so I also think people miss out on that as well. Stormblood is good. I think the hate comes from the horrific launch, and the discourse at the time really poisoned all the community's discussion going forward. Yeah, luckily I wasn't around for that. I was only there around for the Stormblood's Point X content. Each one has its own pros and cons. It depends on which hits people the most individually. Yeah, I think that's the thing too, right? Is what strengths appeal to you most are always going to be personal. I just think that there are things that are objectively well done about Stormblood that aren't pointed to, whereas I think Heavensward is. And I think Heavensward has the benefit of going up against A Realm Reborn, right? You go from A Realm Reborn to Heavensward. By contrast, Heavensward, of course, feels phenomenal. And that's not, I mean, it is in a vacuum, but also it's supported by that. Oh, good. We only have to do one more fate. So let's go do... I didn't like Stormblood as much as others. Too many gimmicky fights, in my opinion. Some writing was weird to me. I don't know what you mean by gimmicky fights, because, like, all the fights have fundamentals. I mean, like, do you mean... Because if you compare, like, Susano uses the shield thing, but that's pretty straightforward. Other than, like, that's not that different than, I mean, much else, and is pretty clear cut, and also becomes a common mechanic. And ATB, I mean, ATB becomes fundamental to the game throughout. Lakshmi, you have the like, it's just a singular mechanic. And then I do think, oh my god, what is it called? Oh, hello. Invite to party. I do think that the weakest final trial is probably... Mechanically, I'm not a huge fan of the Shinryu fight, but its scale and scope, in some ways I appreciate it more. I don't, like, Thoradin's good, but the fight's kind of really boring to me. I also don't know what you mean about the writing thing, so I don't know which specific scenes you'd be pointing to. I really like Hien and Yugiri. Yeah, I really like them too. Yeah, I really enjoyed the journey to the Far East with the group. Hien is just as good as America. Yeah, it's just very, very different experiences. And, like, that's the thing, is that they're, like, again, like, the love for them. I get if you, for instance, it's aesthetically, right? If aesthetically Knights and Dragons appeals more to you, then fuck yeah, of course, you know, Heavensward is going to be better for you. Or if certain character interactions or narrative that are being told matter more to you, of course. You know, if, like, Ysel and Estinian speak very specifically to you, then of course. I just think that they're contrasted too heavily rather than being lauded for their strengths. And it's just always weird to me when things are, like, casted down. It's like, oh, when I hear, like, Heavensward was great, but then Stormblood was kind of eh. I'm like, really? That seems... I don't think it deserves that... that much. I've heard people say A Realm Reborn is better than Stormblood, and I just can't, like, usually I can, like, get outside of myself and, like, try to look at someone's perspective, and I've never heard a cogent argument for why A Realm Reborn is better than Stormblood, and I don't think I will ever be able to be convinced of that. Stormblood has Sadu and therefore is great. Yep. Step was my personal favorite area part of Stormblood. Was it my favorite part of Stormblood? I don't know what my favorite part of Stormblood is. Maybe it might be the Step. My favorite scene in Stormblood is Gosetsu in front of the Nahama. So, because of that, and when I say Stormblood, I mean 4.0. If I mean that Point X series, I will emphasize that, because, for instance, when I say Heavensward, I don't mean Point 1 through Point 3 in the Dragonsong War, which, you know, to, like, have the full narrative conclusion of Heavensward, I feel like you kind of do need to have the Dragonsong War stuff. I've heard multiple people say they think A Realm Reborn is better than Stormblood, which is just a wild take in my eyes. I was running the stuff like the orb stuff in that one fight, can't remember the primal. Yeah, Lakshmi, writing-wise, it was location switching. Gosetsu was cool, though. I mean, but, like, the parallel between... I adore the fact that you go between, you travel between, Garabania and, you know, Othar, because it does such a good job of explaining the world's struggles against the Garlean Empire and the reflection of the different ways people are suffering under them. And understanding why people are not just rising up and doing a really nuanced take on, hey, yeah, it's all nice and good that you can just say, oh, we're gonna fight back and we're gonna overtake them, but we have to live with the consequences. And being able to see that through different perspective and lenses, I think is really great. And so you have the benefit too of, hey, there we go, now we can get our Chocobo. Thanks so much, Ren. The benefit of having, in my mind, that juxtaposition, it greatly increases it. Where for Heaven's Word, yes, you get to solitarily focus on Ishgard, but you don't. But it's telling a different story. You're telling a classical high fantasy narrative tale, whereas you're telling a war story where you need multiple perspectives to tell a fundamentally interesting and nuanced war story tale. In my mind, I think that is its strength, not its weakness. I'm sure that I'll enjoy Stormblood. I'm just stuck on Heaven's Word because I haven't bought the expansion yet. Yeah, I mean, that's fair, Professor. Oh, actually, we gotta go this way to get the thing. Thoradin fight was eye candy, but fortunately it was too easy, so the impact didn't hit as much. Shinryu, at least when I first did it, had some bit of challenge. Yeah, the thing I'll say about Shinryu is more challenging. It's also, in terms of like the point made earlier about weird mechanics, I think Shinryu is a little weird in its mechanics. So I think like that one holds true for that. So at least Shinryu is more of a challenge, but it's also a little wonky. But yeah, Thoradin's just too easy. That fight feels so underwhelming to me. At least it does when I do it. I mean, it still does now. No, God, oh my God. No, I'm talking to the wrong person, that's why. Also, you don't have to agree with me. Let that be very clear. I will make my arguments and I will make them passionately and specifically and what my case is, but that doesn't mean I expect you necessarily have to agree with me. However, if you come at me with an argument that like is rooted in something I disagree with, I will also point out why I disagree with the argument. No, it's down below. I forgot. Yeah, the Shinryu music fight is amazing. And to be fair, Thoradin's fight has great music too. But yeah, Shinryu's fight is fucking phenomenal. Also, I didn't realize just how much I praised Stormblood until a certain group reappeared in Endwalker, and I did an RL fist bump just because they were there. You know who? Yeah. The amount that Stormblood expands the world too just does a world of good for the broader world as a whole. Milocho, there we go. I don't get where so many people act like the story goes back and forth between Garabania and Far East. As far as I'm aware, you only go to the Far East once and then come back. Yeah, you do Garabania, you go to the fringes, a little bit to the peaks, and then you switch over, spend your entire time. Think of it like 4 acts. First act is Garabania. Act 2 and 3 is Othard. Act 4 is Garabania. And so it's, you try, you fight, you have this initial victory, and then you have this overwhelming defeat. And then you're like, okay, we need to change tactics and we need to rebuild. While we're doing that, we could get allies and deal with something else. Why don't we go over here and weaken our foes and potentially get more allies? Guys, get Chocobo! And in honor of Sayreen and the amount of money she keeps spending on this channel, in the super chats, we're going to be naming it Milkshake. Ah, yes. Everything appears in order. A moment, please. I'll be right back with your Chocobo. Have you done DSR? And here it is. The fellow has been in high spirits the past few bells. Must have sensed that his master was coming. Now then, to make it official, you'll want to give your noble steed a name. Queer indeed. Yeah, Supersize, we haven't taken it because we weren't at 30 yet, so we can't do them yet. And we weren't blocked in MSQ, so we weren't focusing on it at the time. But we did open, I tend to open up stream with doing at least some of them. Milkshake. We doing Milkshake? Okay, I enjoy war stories, but I guess my expectations were entirely met. Was expecting more tactics, more sabotage stuff that felt the whole two fronts didn't really pay off. Yeah, I guess. I mean, the thing is, it's but we do the, yeah. Des, I know, I can't argue like experience, right, and taste. So I'm just saying for me, this is not to argue your experience, but we do a lot of sabotaging. Fundamentally, freeing parts of Doma and doing that throws off their entire part of their supply lines, and their grip on Othard, which allows them to be attacked from their eastern flank to be attacked, which means that they can't devote all their resources to just Garabania or attacking Eorzea. They have to be split. And you do sabotage the Castrum, you do sabotage their outposts, you do also unite Doma and the Steppe and Hingashi, loosely Hingashi, to be able to, and the Ruby Sea. You cut off their routes from the sea, which actively decreases their ability to engage with not only that region, but then put their people there. Okay. And then it's also more about the cost of war and the cost of freedom and the sacrifices made to the people, not just the tactics. Because the tactics aren't that interesting. You know, we do some of that in like Endwalker, and you do some of that in Stormblood, but it's the people and their pain and their loss and their sacrifice and the human toll of it all. That's my primary point, in my mind, anyways. Hehe, I dare say he likes his name. Here's your very own Chocobo whistle. Simply blow into it, and your feathered friend will come bounding to your side. But do forgive him, he doesn't respond when summoned in crowded cities, areas, or monster-infested lairs. Chocobo are stout-hearted creatures, but they have their limits. And lastly, I present you with the Chocobo Rider's License as required by law. And that concludes all the formalities. I wish you and your Chocobo long years of fulfilling companionship. Hey, Milkshake. Please tell me his name will be Milkshake. Yeah. Hi, taking care of jobs? Yeah, okay. Then you Milkshake literally will bring all the boys to the yard. Hey, JT. I always wonder the Cloud Minion call him a legendary hero. That means he existed in the lore of 14. Yeah, he could have. I mean, we know that, like, for instance, from Omega, that a lot of versions of characters possibly exist either as legends. But that also doesn't mean they existed. It just means that they are stories. So anytime you see them as something that's legendary or storied or, you know, fabled hero of myth or history, does not mean they actually did exist. Here, I got. We can just use Aetherite tickets. It's less a war story and more a story about the politics of Revolutionary War. Yeah, specifically the American style with an organized leadership as opposed to popular revolt. But it's also about, it's not just about that though, in that it's also about empire. The thing that's different, right, is, I mean, it is similar. You're right. But it is also about those restoring spirit when broken, and not just being like, we're gonna rise up and win the day. Gonna be like, hey, when you do that, they murder and imprison and send our loved ones off to war. And you can't just tell us we should fight. You know, like, part of, like, the whole point of, like, Lisa's story is having her get to the point where she understands that. Speaking of in no way something relevant to Lise. Let me see if this is right. You're an adventurer with a scion and a storm? Golly, how do you keep track of everything? It must be fun to pair up with lots of different people, though. I'm always with Papa Limo. Come to think of it, why am I always with Papa Limo? Following the calamity, each nation's armed forces underwent large-scale restructuring centered upon its grand company. In Gridania, the Order of the Twin Adders absorbed both the Wood Whalers and the God's Quiver, while the Luminescents enacted the complete merger of the Maelstorms and the Knights of the Barracuda. Ul'dah is the odd nation out, having been and made no notable changes to its armed forces. As before, and in spirit of the Sultanate, each entry retains a certain degree of independence. Don't forget to get Milkshake's battle training. I will do that. Yeah, we'll get that in a bit. Let's see if Arnvald has anything interesting to say. I hear you pledged yourself to the Grand Company. I'm gonna probably end up doing something that ends up sounding like Scottish if I have to, but don't mind me. I'll get a Yorkshire accent down eventually. Grand Company. Me, I don't think I could do it, but I never feel like one of them, no matter what the recruiter said. I'm not sure I grasp the purpose of these remembrance ceremonies, where you remember to rewrite the past. What does it matter? It isn't as though you can repeat it. Our present-day enemies ought to serve as sufficient motivation, don't you think? The only lesson I believe we should take away from the calamity is that far greater threats can and will appear. I've been chatting with Perseverance, and we've been both swear that we was another member of our crew. We still ain't figured out a way to prove it. Who he was. Just you wait and see. It won't be long before everybody sees us for the heroes we is. Anything interesting? No. Ooh, Waking Sands Orchestration School. Yes, I'll take that. That doesn't matter. Hey, ain't you the lad that rode on the boat in Limsa with me? You ain't? Ha! It is, you ain't it? Ha, glad you see you found a good home. What ain't I doing? Well, I heard to tell one of my brothers came through not long ago. Looks like I just missed him, though. I ain't seen either one of them ever since the calamity. Didn't even know if they were alive, but after running into folk who swore they know me time and again, I reckon they'd be out there somewhere. So officially, he does have brothers in lore. Let me make a note of that in lore. My lore notes. Duplicate. I haven't actually had to write any interesting lore notes down so far because everything I've known. Brennan has brothers. Two siblings meet for their cities. Okay, let's open chat back up. You've been traveling and peddling in the hopes that I'd find me brothers ever since you see a fella, If you see a fella that looks like me, let him know that Brennan's looking for him, would you? We will continue to focus our efforts on investigating the primals. The Amalj are not the only tribe that has succeeded in summoning its deity. Fate shall be thy guide. When our purpose becomes one, once again shall our paths lead here. Oh, actually, our city of learning is now naught but shadows. Ere the light of dawn breaketh, shall we follow whither the sand blows. Welcome back, Elio. Lady Minfilia awaits you within. On the war subject, how important are the supply lines of Final Fantasy XIV? Because you can't just supply line through teleportation magic. Yeah, incredibly important. And it is a background element that is talked about in dialogue, side quests, and lore. So they are incredibly important. Welcome back. It seems you wasted no time putting your skills to work. How do I know? Why, the recruitment officer called to regale me with tales of your heroics. The pride in his voice was absolutely palpable. We Scions are truly fortunate to have you with us, Elio. Now, when last we spoke, I said I wanted you to meet some friends. Did I not? Well, I neglected to mention that you had already met. Silly me. Tataru, please show them in. Oh, this way, sirs. Oh, that was... Thanks again for getting out of that mess. We owe you our lives. But I didn't think we'd properly introduce ourselves. I'm Biggs. And I'm... Goods, man. Spit it out, will ya? Wedge, at your service! I am pleased to say that Biggs and Wedge will be staying with us for a while. Magitech-driven contraptions such as airships grow ever more vital to the city-states of Eorzea. As a neutral party, it was judged that we Scions should serve as keepers of this technology. Of course, for this we needed the knowledge of experts, and so we requested the assistance of Garland Ironworks, who very kindly sent us 2 of their finest engineers. Our happy family continues to grow. On behalf of the Scions, I bid you welcome to the Waking Sands. Like every soul here, I love Eorzea, and I count myself blessed to have been given the chance to stand with you all and fight for the future of the realm. Never have I known such fulfillment, such happiness. All good, Supersides. Superside Swiper. It was less war story, more of a story about the war subject, how important. So yeah, made sense to me since the Stormblood MSQ, the Empire was currently focusing on Alamigo. After our defeat, our only choice was to gather more allies by heading to Othard. Yeah, I mean, the resistance is crushed at that point, so you have to do something else. Don't forget the Milkshake Battle Train. You need to do that. Scrolling down to the bottom. Brennan Brothers, I may end up having to scroll down a lot of chats sometimes. Dark Princess 66, hello, welcome, glad to have you. In the middle of Shadowbringers, I was doing an old content quest that I never done before, and during the first coil quest, Alice introduced herself to me, and I was like, the fuck? Yeah, because you're supposed to play it before doing 3.0, but you're not, it's not mandatory, so yeah, that's how it be, Dark Princess. I think it's the right way, though, because you can't adjust it to make it treat it like they don't know you, because they literally are at different points in their development, so they can't not. That happens a lot with trial quests. Like, you can meet Inukul High elsewhere and then meet him for the first time, and it just be how it is. The Brennan brothers, the Pebblers, and each of the start. Yes, Brotherhood. I never realized there were 3 brothers. Sounds like we have an Anna situation from my Fire Emblem games. Yeah, Atelier, I was unsure whether there were brothers or not. That's the first time I knew. Your Minfilia sounds like she's a psycho who's going to ask me if I want to play a game. Do you want to play a game? First of all, I say you know me. Second, how in the 7 hells did you come back from the first? I mean, yeah, it depends on what you're talking about. Like, hey, where'd your Red Mage sword go? Where's your catalyst? I agree with dividing the Empire's attention. I like it. My point is I don't feel it was shown. Felt more like fronts were doing things one at a time instead of the same. Well, I mean, you can only be present for one at a time. And what happened is Doma wasn't uprising, and Alamigo had a resistance. I mean, and the only resistance the resistance was broken after Hien's Hien and his father tried to revolt recently, and that's why Yugiri is like, and their entire block was destroyed. Then you're with the resistance for Alamigo, who gets fricked at the end of the first act, and so there effectively are no sides. There's no one to fight. They're broken, and so it's all about helping the resistances on both sides restore themselves to power. And as you do that, you're attacking from both sides as much as possible. Because otherwise it's just you subterfuging for a bunch of time, which is not particularly interesting. What happened to the Scions governing power post AR? They talk about it a lot, their role like a neutral boy in Eorzean politics, but they like never do that after the Crystal Braves thing. Yeah, because they try to refrain from ever being a part of it. They try to refrain from talk about a lot of their role as like a neutral body in Eorzean. No, so what their point is not a neutral body in politics. Their point is more a neutral body removed from politics as much as possible, especially after the Crystal Braves.
We have a favor
and the power didn't go anywhere. It was just a role that they happened to be occupying by nature of their power, by nature of their influence.
We have conducted a study at the behest of the Order of the Twin Adder.
Thanks for watching, Brotherhood. Good night. We're running up on the end here anyways.
Synopsis, if you would.
This may be the last cutscene, or the last quest at least.
Our task
We'll
was
see.
to survey the behavior of the Sylphs, a beast tribe indigenous to the Twelveswood.
Oh, how to describe them. They look like Gisselcreens, floating ones, that worship the primal Ramu.
Though technically a beast tribe, Sylphs are blessed with a comparatively personable demeanor, conducive to peaceful communication.
Offering us an invaluable opportunity to learn what the beast tribes know of the primals.
While Ramu's existence is well documented, the Sylphs do not, or perhaps cannot, summon the primal any longer, insofar as can be ascertained, until such time as we know. It would be unwise to assume that the threat posed by the primal has passed.
Which leaves Gridania with the added worry of not knowing what they should be worrying about.
In that regard, they are hardly alone. What we can say with absolute certainty is that Gridania has its hands full fending off Garuda, who, I need hardly remind you, is among the most savage and terrible of all known primals.
In short, it is essential that we approach the Sylphs in as diplomatic a manner as possible. Words and actions can be misconstrued. The only sure way to communicate our intentions is the echo. Winning the Sylphs' favor may well bring us a step closer to mitigating the threat of the primals. Will you help us? I am grateful.
Lovely.
Oh, it didn't even show me nod.
Help. I'm afraid I would be of little use to anyone in Gridania. A veritable babe in the woods. Ida and Papalimo, however, should be able to see the forest for the trees. Is that not so, Minfilia?
Indeed. You are willing?
Leave it to me.
Us, Ida, us!
Punkrit. Yeah, super sides, yep. And they even touch on this in 5.x when they talk about the crystals and how you have to think when you consider a thing's a part of your like your personage, including like your gear and stuff, that counts. That can be teleported, but because it can be converted constituent aether. But anything that isn't considered like you don't think of as part of what is on you or around you or within you, you can't because it can get lost. Tancred is Tailsin? I have no idea, Chris. Could always have Lalafels carry the supplies, then put them in catapults. Okay, Des. It's an idea. I'll grant you that. It certainly is a thought. You know, or you could just use airships. Tailsenja. Oh, okay. I'm not super up on voice actors. I recognize a lot of them in A Realm Reborn, but I can place them maybe from other characters they've voiced, but I don't know their VAs very well. Power, hey, good to see you. We have nearly limitless aether reserves. Honestly, being a reincarnated member of the so like one, be careful with spoilers, and two, we don't have it being having okay, one, we don't have limitless reserves, and two, your soul is not what defines the amount of aether you have. Your soul's density is affected by that, and that means that you can also have resultant abilities like the Echo due to certain things that come as a byproduct of the memories of the final days, yada, yada, yada. But there's the body does not determine your ethereal ability, and the soul does not alone determine your ethereal ability. And while yes, it does make you stronger, you are by no means limitless. In terms of teleportation, you can do it regularly. But even like the Warrior of Light, if they like constantly teleported within the lore, would tired, and it does like take energy to do. It's definitely not limitless, and I would not describe it as such. We know far too little of the sylphs to lay any worthwhile plans. We must call upon the scions once more if we are to. Beg your pardon. 'Tis a terrible habit of mine to think aloud. But tell me, what brings you to the Adder's Nest? Okay. So we got this here. Why don't we we'll end out today by doing the final Marauder quest. True, but launching Lalafels is funnier. Fair. Either way, still better logistics than Germans. Gonna jump off. FC about to do some treasure hunting. Have fun over it. Thanks, Aurora. Thanks for joining in. See you next time. See you Monday. Or if you see a community stream, see you Saturday. I may have to consider trying to read chat less, unless maybe some things are like people find them like super, so that we can get through the story more readily. And the first warrior quest. No, I don't think we have time for the first. We've only got 7 minutes really left. Because I have real life outside of game work and responsibilities I have to do, sadly, so I can't just stay on.
Elio, your confrontation with the beast is at hand. Kuchita has made its presence known. Reports place the creature into the northeast of the Red Rooster Stead in the vicinity of the Grey Fleet. This is little more for me to say, but this. Harness all the strength you have built through the labors of sweat and blood, and unleash its full fury upon the Kuchita and his menagerie of scavengers. Sigurd yet lies abed, trusting in your strength and praying for your victory. I ask that you go to Lad before the battle and tell him you venture forth to fell the objective of his vengeance. Such news should clear his ailing heart. The time is come, Elio Forcheron. May your axe strike deep and true.
Come to think of it, launch Lalafels could be weaponized, assuming that we get a bunch of Dragoon Lalafels and then launch them to use jump Guardian targets, effectively making them all. Yeah, I mean. It's a thought. It's a tactic. I'm sorry, but a Lala tank is just funny. Then we can start next stream with the first warrior. Yep, supersides, that will be the plan. I may even go ahead and do some leveling if I have any free time tomorrow or at all. Just skip through chat unless Gridania is mentioned because that's important. Sorry, Ren, but if anything, it was more likely the inverse. I don't know why I keep opening the map. We'll get there when we get there. Have I gotten any armor? Nope. Just an Infina earring. I love that the earring for pre-ordering Endwalker was Minfina's earring because the moon and Minfina. I feel like it was probably been just as quick to just go to the start on the God's Grip. It is really annoying that there's not, like... I mean, I guess you could do Summerford Farbs to go there, but just, like, put an Aetheryte here. Thank you, Supersides. Where's my normal Chocobo? Oh, I didn't use the whistle yet. Come on, Milkshake. Let's do this. I even come on stream days and fly you around if you want to help. If you want to help Dirty Girl. Honestly, it'll be fine. It'll be fine now, especially because like this is the most egregious thing, and we have teleport tickets to the Waking Sands. I'm mostly just bitching. I've been learning a lot of lore from doing Beast Tribes. Any plans to do a comprehensive video on them? Yes, Angel. Also welcome. Glad to have you. Absolutely. If the question is there a plan to do X? Know that I've already done notes for like pretty much everything that is before Shadowbringers that I want to do. And the answer is probably yes. It's literally just not having enough time to be able to make videos because of work. And so once I get more time to do them, we'll continue to put out more and more of them. The reasons I'm doing streams instead of taking this time to make more videos is partially just because I need a reason to play the game. I very rarely get to play the game lately because spend so much time like doing the filming and writing and stuff for the videos. So I just wanted to be able to play 14 for the first time in a while. Elio, I'm sorry for making trouble. No, I deserved what I got. It's my own fault for not believing in you. But you came back anyway, and now you're gonna take the axe to Kuchita's head, ain't you? I know you can't beat the bastard. You got to. I know you can beat the bastard. You got to do it. That doesn't stop being silly. I heard Kuchita had reared his ugly head again, and reckoned you not be too far behind. I hope you won't object to me lending what aid I can. We've been through much, you and I would see this tale to its end. Bronbar he felt much the same. So here we are, a pack of two to offset the ravenous beasts that follow in Kuchita's wake. Might as be as sticking me nose where it ain't wanted, but I couldn't abide the thought of you facing the monster solo. Kuchita's got his friends, so it's only fair you got a couple too. And what's friends for if not lightening your load? I already did some of the groundwork for you. Seems like a farmer and his wain have fallen victim to the fiend's pack. If we follow the trail of destruction, it might just lead to the bigger bugger himself. Power ain't not quite as annoying as the pre 5.3 trek from the Waking Sands. Trek to the Waking Sands. Pre 5.3 trek to the... Do you mean like the Realm Reborn trek to it? Because if so, I mean they added the tickets now, so that's technically solved. Company Chocobo is now Milkshake starts. Fat Chocobo is now Milkshake becomes. Tillier, I think that might be the lore now. Not gonna randomize the mounts? No. For now, I'm probably gonna stick with Milkshake. I mean, we just got him. I'd like to build a connection with him. And I usually don't randomize the mounts. I have a specific mount I use for each of my jobs. I have a specific mount I use for each job and a specific mount I use for each, like both of battle jobs and Department of Hand and Land. Oh, pre 5.3 Trek. I was confused. I thought you were saying like the Trek in the game, in the MSQ before 5.3, not when they added it. But yeah, but that's no longer a worry, so. Now I follow. And actually, no, I would say this trek has been more annoying than doing Waking Sands, because you can go to Horizon, and it's a straight shot from there. I can press R, like I can auto run and make it basically all the way to Vesper Bay from Horizon. So from the like Dawn and Dusk Gate. So I don't know. I think this is actually by far more annoying. I used my company Chocobo for each job. He's with me through thick and thin, minus dungeons. Yep, I feel you, Angel. My main with Obo, main Chocobo is like that. New Top Gun comes out tomorrow, and I want a fighter jet mount. I mean, if you want a fighter jet mount, you basically just get the what's it called from Boja. I mean, then it's a transforming fighter jet, or just get all the mounts from Shadowbringers and get Mecha Bahamut. I must ask you a question. Ask you a question. Why aren't you using your full combo? Because I'm trying to read chat while doing it, and it doesn't matter that much because it gets through it pretty quick anyways. Because usually I'm taking that time during combat to not focus on the screen. Small pet peeve in Final Fantasy XIV. None of the mounts save the Chocobo leave footprints. Fair. I'm actually kind of surprised by that, seeing as it's a texture layer. You'd think it'd be pretty easy, although I guess it would just take more time to make. It's a lot of work. I mean, it's not a lot of work in and of itself, but it's, you know, it takes time. Or one from the middle of the Heavensward story. Or the one from the middle of the Heavensward story. I'm not sure what you mean, Power. Gubu mount is my favorite. I love the way his arms slap when he flies. Yeah. You gotta love a Gubu. You gotta love a good Gubu. I think, like, my only real regret about not being around for 1.0 is not being able to get the original Gubu mount. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that counts. I was thinking more like traditional, like, actual jet. But, like, that's the same thing. Bum Bike is best mount, fight me. Look, I know it's best mount, but I've been trying to get it for 18 months, and I've been stuck on the same final fucking car note that won't freaking drop. It is a great mount. I wish I had it. The great Gubu wall. Exactly, Professor. Elio. It appears our timing was most fortuitous. We brought cookies. The axe master carried me ere so I could see. You did it. You really did it. Ma, Dad, do you see? Elio killed the bastard. He's finally dead. Thank you. Thank you all. Elio, do you reckon I could learn to swing an axe like that? When I is bigger, I mean. I want to protect folk too. Keep them safe from, you know, monsters and things.
If you train me hard, then naught is beyond your reach, young man, including cookies.
Then that's what I'll do. I'll train every single day. You'll see, I'll be the strongest heir there ever was. To catch them was his real test. To train them was his cause. So the giant bulb was just an animal, right? Or did it actually have some malice? Probably just an animal, which is, I agree, it makes this whole quest a little weird. Well done, Elio. I know from the first that we met that you would rise to meet any challenge. I saw it with my own eyes. I can still scarce believe it. You brought down the mountain. Although, the amount that it, like, chases people around, maybe it does have some malice and awareness.
It is done, Elio. You two answered the boys' prayers and upheld the pride of the guild. Hold your head high, Marauder. I shall be awaiting your triumphant return to Limsa Laminsa.
Train mount. Oh, we still got a couple minutes until that's on refresh, so... Well, actually, we can just use save right. A train mount would be fun, like based on those Shinra trains from FF7, but of course smaller, like the one of those backyard railways. I mean, like you could imagine something like what the Omega train. Ban Ray Ray for having it. No. Ray Ray, I have no malice towards people who have it. I'm just frustrated that there is no form of pity system in Boja for the notes. Like, it should be if you have 999 coins, you can buy a note. Like, boom, solved. That problem is completely solved. Or like, frick it, maybe make it even 2,000 coins, 3,000 coins. It does, like, it's not even relevant what the amount of coins. There needs to be a pity system is the problem. We have the tank mount. That good enough? Yeah, the tank mount's phenomenal. I have enough malice. I want that, but I heard it's complicated to get. The tank mount? It's literally just a tribal quest. It's very easy to get. It's literally just the Dwarves Shadowbringers tribal quest. And then you're done. You do have to get to the end of it, though, which can take, I think, a couple weeks. But just because you don't have the limited amount of uses per day. I truly agree with you on the note. I think it's absurd that I had to do already 50 times to get one note.
That we truly are mighty feat, Elio. Never have I seen a marauder so dedicated to attaining the pinnacle of his discipline. In recognition of your achievements, I, Askmaster Warzone, pass on to you our guild's final technique, the thrill of battle. This skill teaches you to embrace the fear and danger of combat, allowing you to push well beyond the normal limits of your stamina. Though your thought brings me both joy and sadness, there is not more I can teach you. May the memories of your time here at the guild sustain you as you strive for even greater heights of perfection. Experience now shall be your tutor, as will cookies. There will always be greater foes and deadlier challenges on which to test your blade. Of that, I am certain. You enter a realm of our craft in which even I have never set foot. I only hope that when you reach your very boundaries of your art, you will return to share your triumphs with us. Until then, Elio, may your axe ever swing true. Oh god, I'm finally never going to have to do that voice again. Thank the 12. Let's get Sabaton so they match, at least. Dwarf Beast Tribes. Yep. Cool, I must have misread the article. Yeah. You had to do Delredia 50 times for achievement anyways. Yeah, but like, the achievement, it's like, okay, do I want that thing, right? Maybe, maybe not. But the, oh great, the color's even worse. But the mount is so good, and like, regardless, there needs to be a pity system. I am stuck on, I have done one critical engagement, not even critical engagement, fate. What are they called? Anyways, the fates basically in Boja. One fate that is hard to get to spawn, that can take 20 minutes to an hour to get to spawn. And I have done it 67-ish times. Well, I've lost count at this point. But somewhere 60 plus times now, and never once got the note.
there needs to be a pity mechanic. Yeah, he does, but I don't think he has voice lines. I'm pretty sure it's Bowen Bard, and that shows up mainly with Alkazilka and a couple other people. I think he does pop up, but I don't think he says anything. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Okay. With that said, yeah, I still do it almost every day. Low the number. Yeah, the number of times I failed to get into the duel. Yeah. Hey, Litnian. Sorry, we're about to actually end the stream, but glad to have you. With that said, to everyone, thank you so much for joining in. Very glad to have you here. If you'd like to talk to me more or anyone else about Final Fantasy XIV lore or any other goodies, you can feel free to join our Discord, which I'm sure Ray will throw in the chat. If you'd like to support us by tossing us $1, it goes a long way to help us support, make this whole thing more sustainable and hopefully do it in more full time in the long term. And that you can do that by giving us money on Patreon and getting cool rewards, or you can offer us a couple of dollars in the chat here. That is always super welcome and put to good use. If you like to read articles about lore, you can check out our website at theeorzeanarchives.com. And for those of you who support us on Patreon, let me read out your names in a mighty thanks. Aw, looks like you either lost someone or someone changed their pledge. Oh well, that's fine. That's understandable. Situations change. Relationship manager. So, let us read out everyone's names. A big and great thank you to Babalao Papalau, CB872, Lucifiel, Sayrene, Arcadicius, Brian Boguts, Highlander Furball, Joe, Lorianne Sutton, Renzar, Sothdan, Zachary Dringer, Merrick, Vane Dog, and The Barbecue. If you'd like your name read out at the end of streams or in the credits of our videos, feel free to sub to our Patreon. Otherwise, thank you for all your support anyways. We really appreciate when you watch the videos. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. It goes a long way to making the videos more get out there. With that all said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time, either hopefully for the community stream on Saturday, Lore Book Club, which is tomorrow, which you can join Discord to join, or the next MSQ stream, which will be on Monday. With that said, let me give you a fond farewell from Elio here, and his green armor of no expressionness. Have a lovely week, everyone, and a mighty cheers to you all.